All right, we are live. Peace and blessings to everybody. This is the Ritual Podcast with myself, Phoenix, and my beautiful co-host, Lady Luna.
Hey, everyone.
We got a show for y'all. We had to bring it back. We had to bring it back and talk about this narcissist.
Remix it. Yes.
Remix it, revamp it.
Because it's a never-ending story.
Absolutely.
This could be a topic for 50,000 episodes.
Okay. 5,000. So we're going to take just a moment. We're going to pause and we're going to make sure that we are sharing. So if you are watching on Facebook, thank you so much for being here. Please, please, please share the live. Go ahead and love it and like it and all that good stuff. Let your folks know that we are here. Let me turn it on down here. All right. And if you are on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe. Go on and drop them comments because we're going to see them. We want to know what you guys think, what you guys have to say, your experiences, whatever you want to share. Because basically, look, we got empaths in the world and we have narcissists in the world. And for some reason, they always clash with each other. And so we're going to talk about that connection today. Sis, what makes you so interested in this topic?
Well, I think that for me, I have had, and I think like we were saying earlier, by the time we get this age, we've all had some narcissistic experiences. And especially with being an intuitive reader, I get a lot of narcissistic reads, or readings that give off narcissistic energy. And it's just dominant. You know what I mean? It's just a thing. And just like we got these sweet, nice people in the world, then there's these other half, these narcissists. And it just exists, in all of our everyday world, work, our kids, because we can give birth to them. We can marry them and we can also be them ourselves. So, yeah, I'm interested, especially from my own personal experiences. And it made me dig deep to find out, more about the whole narcissist empathic thing, and like even where I fit in the equation. So, yeah, my life experiences.
Yeah,
for sure.
For me, it's the fact that I am an empath. And I know that a lot of times I pull the energy of people who need something, who needs help, who needs some direction, some guidance or whatever. I know that what I have to understand, I should say, is that sometimes it's not always a project that I have to take on. It's not always something that I have to make a personal thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it could just be something that I have to work on, or someone who needs that work. I'm a Reiki master, a vibrational medicine practitioner. So sometimes it really is just maybe some counseling or just being able to give them some type of support or something. But it's not always that I got pull them into my life and make them a part of it. And I find that a lot of times that's what happens in that connection. Yeah. The empath wanting to be of service to someone.
Yeah. Or fix or heal.
Yeah. There we go. Those are words. And then the narcissist wanting to receive whatever you're willing to give me.
Everything that you, everything. Your soul. Okay. Because that's how they work. Yeah.
So let's get into maybe some personal situations, you know what I'm saying? Before we get into, I read an article today and I thought it was very, very interesting. So I'm going to read just a little bit from that after we get into this discussion. But let's talk about what a narcissist really is. And so let's go with your definition, sis. Let's talk about
narcissist is actually a disorder. And it's actually a disorder. So I remember the last show we were doing, we were talking about, if narcissist, I do feel like in some cases, you can be born narcissistic. But I also think too that life experiences can turn us or draw us to be narcissistic. Like, so for me individually, like I definitely know that I am an empath. I think I was an empath first before anything else, but I am an empath with narcissistic traits, most definitely. So for me, my narcissistic traits kick in when I find out that I'm dealing with a narcissist. Because to me now, like with my experience, it's almost like no, it's not almost, it's like sometimes you got to pull a them on them. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how I've discovered. I use that as ammunition. You understand? Like, so to me, it's like taking the negativity that the narcissists have given to me and literally returning it to sender. You know, and that we're big on that, especially in our spirituality realm. To me, it's the best revenge. You know what I mean? And so, and it's what I discovered to work. It's what I've discovered to work. And I'm not telling everybody, all these empaths, turn into a narc to defeat the narc. This is just the way that worked for me individually. But yeah, and it was a discovery though, like in the midst of having these narcissistic relationships, because it was like, you do ask yourself, and then you do get to studying and trying to figure out, like, why do I attract these narcissists? And so for me, it is addictions. Mm-hmm. I'm attracted to addicts, highly. And I have so many different stories of like people that I met that I was drawn to them, or even that they were drawn to me. And then I find out either early on or later off that they're actually addicts themselves. And then that's when it struck a chord in me. It was like, okay, so this is the link, but it goes even deeper than that, because the reason, it's like, why addicts? Why am I addicted to addicts? And two, also because I am one. Let me say that first and foremost. But it stemmed more so from my childhood because my parents were addicts, and so subconsciously what we do is we find someone that was like our parents, and it's almost like that. And it's not even a conscious thing, for a lot of us. It's just like, I'm going to fix this person, because this is what narcissists do. Like, what empaths do. I know what I can bring to the table. I'm a healer. I can fix you, and I'm going to pray over you, and I'm going to Reiki over you, and I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do all these things, and I'm going to be a positive, and I'm going to give you whatever you need, and it's going to work. And you're going to do it because you love me, because I'm enough. Like, most children want when their parents are, the addicts, especially in the case that you are a child and the relationship with your parents where, the addiction was more important than the child. It's like we really go into that mental mode of, so our significant others who we choose, you know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, because those normally are the ones that replace our parents. And then you get into this relationship with the mentality of fixing or healing this person. And you realize I really didn't got myself caught up in some real bleak, you know what I mean? Because this is a whole nother person, because there's so many different types of narcissists. And then the depth of them, you know, because just like I can break down and go to the root of why I am who I am when it comes down to my empathic part of me, and then why I'm attracted to narcissists. They have a past too, and they have a beginning too. Yeah, but a long time they're in denial about that though. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah,
I really appreciate you sharing some things about yourself in that.
Oh yeah.
I feel as though narcissists really there's this underlying thing as to why they end up becoming that way, why they end up being that way. And from my experience and those that I've dealt with, there was always something that happened from their childhood. There was a lack of something. And oftentimes it's a lack of their parents being around, or being moved around so much. I've had many that I've dated, and that seemed to be the common thing. They're lacking something, missing something in their life. And so they seek it from the I was going to generalize it. Partners, from the people that they end up with.
Yes.
I feel like the empath here has this thing as well, where they may not have gotten the attention and things that they wanted to as well, in childhood, adolescence years, teenage years, and adulthood. I can't say that I didn't get the attention
Mm-hmm.
I do recall going through a phase in my life when uh, my mother and father did separate,
Yeah.
shut me completely down. Um, I think that that moment for me caused me to seek like validation and things from really from my parents, because one wasn't there and the other one
Right.
I was empathic, so I could tell, sense, and feel
Yes.
the hurt or the pain or the struggle or whatever that my mother was going through.
Yeah.
Um, it brought us very close, but it also it just kind of tore me up with my dad
Yeah.
passing on.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I felt like I had to fix my mom. I even wrote a song.
Oh, and I love your mom too.
Yeah, she's so sweet. But I felt like
She's
I had to
so
fix it.
sweet.
I felt like I had to be a certain way in order to comfort her. That I
Yeah.
had to be a certain way to make her feel at peace or comfortable or whole or whatever.
Yes.
I was young. Girl, I was
Mm-hmm.
young. Elementary school feeling this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. By no means though. My mother is, I don't think she's a narcissist. I believe she's empathic as well.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
she would always try to make it to where I wouldn't feel that way.
Yes.
That I
Yes.
felt, that you didn't have to do this. You don't have to take on the burden.
Oh yeah. But you went into empath parental mode. You know what I mean? For your mom. It was like a protection thing to protect her. Yeah. That's what we
Mhm.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, we know why, but
Yeah.
from times when we look at ourselves, we say that we don't know why, and that's just a defense mechanism because we don't want to accept why.
Yes. Or even
Um,
want to find out, or even want to dig deep enough to find out why. Some people do not want to peel their own onion layers back. Some people don't want to dig deep. Yeah, they don't.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what
So
the stagnancy is.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
say what this article says that an empath is. Okay,
Okay.
it's someone attuned to others' emotions and sensitive to the feeling of other people or feelings of other people. They prioritize the needs of others over their own. They give without being asked. So it's almost something that is involuntary.
Yeah, that used
Almost
to be
something.
me. But I think that is also like we hear the word empath so much and we really fail to realize that there's a toxic trait to empaths too. Because
Mhm.
that really is that. Like even to this day I find myself when it comes down to like certain people. If certain people tell me certain things, it's to me, it's not the fact that you don't have to say, oh, I'm struggling or I need some help, like here or there. If with certain people, when I hear and I know that this person needs something, it's like what I am supposed to do is to
Mhm.
offer. It's like if I, it's so my mentality is this, it's like be the person you want people to be to you. But then it's almost like the toxicity comes in that it's almost because it's like these people who I am this way with are never that way with me. Like they can know that I have a issue or a problem and I'm not going to get an offering. So why am I like that? You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, the only ones really being depleted is me. You know what I'm saying? And that is toxic. And it's also too um especially when you know better, it's paying for a love that you're not gonna get. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I love you, I got your back. You know what I mean? I love you. Don't worry. If I'm in if I'm in your life, I'm gonna always be in your corner. And if it feels really good to that person, and it feels good to the narcissist too. But then at the end of the day, once the door is closed and you've given what you've given, it's like don't nobody want to call you no more. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're struggling and going through, or when you're sick, nobody's there to check on you. Nobody's coming to see you. You know what I mean? Nobody's offering you any assistance. And it's like, well, what about me? And it's like 9 times out of 10, I probably already know that these people weren't going to. So why do I keep, you know what I'm saying? And it is toxic because it just creates a repetitive flow of trying to give love, and it's like we can't buy it either. You know what I
Right.
mean? We can't buy people's love. You know what I mean? And it's just like sometimes you got to take it for what it's worth. You know what I mean? Like, because either these people are going to love you anyway or they're not. You know what I mean? And it's just what it is. But it's toxic. That's a toxic trait for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and what ends up happening too that I know of, the trauma bonding. starts to take place. Because there's a reason why the empath is so drawn to the narcissist, and then there's a reason why the narcissist is so drawn to the empath. And then when they find that bond, and see, this is why I call it the connection. Once they find that connection, that's what's that they cling on to the most.
Yes.
Ride that sucker out. You know what I mean? So when the empath is trying to express its feelings about what it's been through and why it's the way it is, and then the narcissist is doing the same thing. However, the narcissist is also going to play towards what they feel like is the weakness of the empath.
Yes.
And use that and begin to gaslight and begin to guilt trip other things in order to continue to keep that empath in their
in the loop of things. It's a supply, you know what I mean? Whatever they can do to keep the supply. Very toxic, very, very toxic. It's so like even like the trauma bonding part, like we hear like that phrase, misery loves company. So say you got two kids who, and this is another thing too, like you can have two children who have very similar upbringings, you know, like, well, my mom was on drugs. Oh, my mom was on drugs too. One of these kids grow up to be a narc and one grow up to be an empath because they've had very similar situations and what they decided to take from the situation. And then they become friends. Okay. And then now we grow up together and now we have this relationship that's bonded by the fact that we had this trauma in our lives at a young age. And now we're feeding off of each other. You know what I mean? Based on that trauma. And that's where the misery loves company comes in at. You know, we hear that and we can take it in such a negative way. And I mean, it is, but like psychologically, it's just kind of how it works. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like two women that are going through a divorce at the same time or going through a breakup at the same time. You know, like, girl, let's go out and drink. We going man bashing. You know what I mean? Like now we're trauma bonding because we want to bash our husbands, you know, or bash our boyfriends because we don't want to be with them no more. And it's like, now we have this wonderful relationship, but how well would we have gotten along without that? You know what I mean? Like how would we have even really been friends without that bond? You know what I mean? And then we find ourselves spending quality time with these people all based on that negative energy. And it's like, how much time of your life did you waste with that bonded relationship from that trauma? It's like we still keep the narcissist energy around. You know what I mean? Like it's like we become, that's almost like when you let it beat you. You know what I mean? That's when you know that even once you left that narcissistic relationship, you still let it win because now we got a whole trauma bonded relationship with a friend that's going through the same damn thing. It's like I feel like a domino effect of toxicity.
It's almost the cycles right now. Like this is the cycles that we're going through. And this is like the biggest topic. Like in 2023, this has been the biggest thing that everybody has been discussing, dealing with the narcissist. But my thing is this, an evolved person who understands themselves, know who they are willing to pinpoint that within themselves. I know that I have narcissistic traits.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I definitely do.
Shoot, I'm a Scorpio.
I'm a Gemini, baby.
It's gonna tell you that, but
let me tell you.
It's gonna tell you that, but when you can identify it, understand it, because that's the thing, and that's the purpose of the show right now.
Yes.
It's so that we can get to a place where we understand it, accept this thing about ourselves, because you have to be able to accept these things about yourselves in order to deal with them, because you can tame it, because there are levels of narcissism that is okay, that is natural and normal, because this is what I tell people, some parts of your ego you need. You can't just dismiss your ego. You can't do that.
Oh, yes. Yes. That's why I embrace a certain type of narcissistic side of me, because the thing is there was a point in time in my life to where I was so empathic that I was letting people run over me left and right. And it's like, okay, well, guess at this point, because you live and you learn, right? And it's like you can eventually get to a point to where it's like you got me completely fucked up. So now we're getting ready to, we're gonna play this game. And it's crazy, honey, because it's it's an awkward gratification when you can beat the narcissist at their own game. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like when you know that you are going into, or even if you are born into, however you want to put it, you know what I mean? If you're born into narcissistic families and, you pick narcissistic relationships, still regardless, once you realize what it is and you know your own individual intentions with this person, it's like when I know my intentions are good, when I know when I know I got, because especially with me being a Gemini too, there's a loyalty factor with me. If I say you belong to me or you are in my corner, I got your back, and that's just it. My mother was so that way. I'm born from two Geminis. My mother and my father was Gemini, and then the empathic side of me. Yes, ma'am. That's the runs really deep, and I'm fully full-fledged one, and I'm all right with it, and because there's the good, the bad that comes along with it. And I'm just trying to create the balance for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a such thing as being too good. But yeah, it's like when I know my intentions for your life, when I know that I don't mean you no harm, and you come on me in a certain kind of way, there was a time I didn't know how to battle that. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you battle that? It was like, you go in a corner and you cry about it. How do you battle that? Like when you don't have the battle or the fight in you, because it's like, wait a minute. First of all, that didn't throw me off guard anyway, because I didn't even think that I was going to be in the situation to have to choose to fight you. Because if you're really loving somebody, the last thing you want to ever do is find yourself like, now I have to battle you on this level. Like that was never what I thought was going to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so that leaves the empath fighting themselves again, because you genuinely got a heart for this person who clearly ain't looking at you the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's like the narcissist will go for the jugular and without a single thought, because the thing is with them is that they don't think twice before they move. Okay, like they don't think about, I'm not going to say that because they actually plan shit out. They're actually very premeditated, but they don't think about the consequences. And also too, because they lack empathy. They lack that idea of person. What's that?
They think they know wholeheartedly who they're dealing with. So
yes.
Yeah, they're going to take the time to study and analyze. They're going to take the time to see what makes you tick, what does this, what does that. How can I manipulate?
Learn all your secrets. Yes, baby.
They're wanting to manipulate you.
Yeah. Yeah, they pick you. They pick you. They want to learn all of what's all your secrets and what's all your, you know what I mean? Because they tallying shit up. Like my little sister, I love her to death. She gave me she calls it data collectors. Like people who literally sit around and they collect all of this data to use against you. It made so much sense when she said it. And and they do. When you get into an argument with a narcissist, you be sitting back like, wait a minute. I would have never thought, like you was waiting to do that shit all the time. Excuse my language, or like I didn't even know you remembered that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, honey, and they go for the jugular, honey. You got to be real careful.
Yes, they do. They make sure that
they want to make you look bad.
Well, from my experience, I felt as though they would use things that you shared with them. Secrets, things that you held in privacy or whatever. They'll take those things and they'll use them against you, which ends up, fucking with our heads. You know what I mean? Like we just can't. It's like I thought you felt this way, and then it's always like the stroking of you. Oh no, I said that because of this, and I just, I wanted you.
Yes. I didn't mean it.
Wanted you to know, because I didn't think you see. You know what I mean? I didn't think you saw it. I didn't think you understood. So I'm just trying to show you what you don't see. Yes. It's the mental manipulation. Yes. Yeah, and and it's the reverse psychology to out blatant disrespect. It's like but the fun part about that though is because and the levels of it is also different. It's like when you can be born into a narcissistic family, so they know. But you meet somebody, and then you find out early on that they're narcissistic, and it's like, okay, and they think they've known you long enough to be able to like throw you under, but whatever the mission is, and it's like the best revenge, the best reward is that you don't spill all of your tea, you don't give all of your beans. You know what I mean? And I mean from the standpoint of don't let them know exactly who you are, because then people do. They take advantage of you.
Especially for an empath that are used to narcissists, you can tell real early on when those narcissistic traits are kicking in. It's like, okay, I'm peeping you. I'm just gonna act like I don't see shit, but I'm peeping everything. Because the narcissist, they got so many damn secrets, and they spill their own beans every time. I wonder how that works too, because they're so busy trying to put like on a persona. It's like a facade, they're like chameleons, like they blend in with, whatever situation that suits them. And it's like, but wait a minute, you got some shit too. Like I done laid all my shit on the table. We all got some, some skeletons or whatever in our closet, but no, they don't want to open up so that you can truly get to know them. That's why when you find out early on that they have these narcissistic traits, it's like, just be real careful about the amount of vulnerability that you give to them, because they will definitely run with it.
Well, I'll say this though, because in my experience, they have put it all out there, and I think they do that though in a way to say, but you know this already. You know this about me, so it's almost
you got those you got those types, yeah. Because in that, and especially with that type of mentality, it's almost like don't act like you didn't know I was capable of cheating. You know what I mean? Because remember I told you beginning, you know what I mean? Like,
I already told you this about me. Yeah. You can't say I didn't warn you type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I told you back in the day, I used to dabble in these kind of drugs and stuff here. They're like, no, wait a minute. You ain't make it seem like it was like that. You know what yeah, honey. Yeah.
And it comes full circle. It's almost like
strategic.
Like that, yeah, exactly. That is strategic. This is premeditated. Like it's look, and I can only talk about my experience, people. I can only talk about
so many. That's the thing. Like it's so many levels to narcissism. Like, I mean, there are so many different titles to narcissism. It's insane. And it's different individual story. You got what do you do with a narcissistic parent? Here it is. We were going to touch bases on that limerence too, but
that's right in with this.
Yeah, that's literally where my mind just went to. So
go for it.
Sinead O'Connor, you remember Sinead O'Connor, the singer? No, Sinead. She sang. Oh my goodness.
That isn't her. Who?
Nope. That's Lisa Stansfield. Sinead O'Connor. I'll pull it up. She was a younger Caucasian girl. Nothing compares. She sang the song. She just passed away not too long ago.
Yeah.
Sinead O'Connor had one of the craziest upbringings. Okay, like her mother was a narcissist on a whole nother level, but Sinead just so happened to have been her mother's favorite. So she had these sisters, and Sinead was beautiful, very beautiful coming up as a girl. And her mother bragged and doted on her almost to the point to where, not almost, definitely to the point to where like really, really tarnished her, because she still loved her siblings, and then she had this mother who was a narcissist. I think she had some schizophrenia and stuff going on along with her too, which made growing up really, really hard for her. You can have these narcissistic parents, and then we grow up just like so tainted and tarnished, you know what I mean, by that. And so the difference between, so I feel like her mother also possessed a tad bit of limerence. So limerence is not necessarily like an addiction to a person, but it's a huge admire. You just really admire this person, but on another level of, the only difference is that, because limerence can be toxic too, but it's not as deep as obsession, So there was another story that I don't know, it always seems to stem like with children. There was this little girl who was completely infatuated with her teacher. Infatuated. And also this little girl, her mother at home was a drug addict, alcoholic, always moving, boyfriends here, they're crazy lifestyle. But she would go to school, and she's in front of this teacher who's like her ideal mother. The way she walked, the way she talked, everything. This little girl became infatuated with this woman that she wanted her to become her mother. This was grade school. This young lady was literally still infatuated with this teacher, in limerence of this teacher well into her 20s. She literally had to go to counseling because of the the limerence that she had with this teacher because she fit the exact ideal of what she thought a real mother was supposed to be. It's levels to, I feel like limerence is something that kind of piggybacks. It has a lot to do with narcissism and empathic, traits, and it can, even for adults, like you can have people who are in limerence over, and I know it sounds silly, but over celebrities, like you have grown women that are,
I see that.
like, yeah, crazy, like weird, kind of weird. It's weird, like we grown, like come on, but I feel like there's a link, like a chain link to all of those. You know what I'm saying? The obsession, the narcissist, the limerence, and the empath. And so it's like you intertwine this bowl into all these, kind of relationships. It runs deep. I feel like it's a crazy family. Like it's a crazy family. Imagine that family reunion.
It all still deals with self-esteem. That's why.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So I'm gonna read the definition of narcissism and what some psychologists say about it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it says narcissism, self-centered personality style characterized as having an excessive preoccupation with oneself and one's own needs, often at the expense of others. Some psychologists suggest that a moderate level of narcissism is supportive of good psychological health. Self-esteem works as a mediator between narcissism and psychological health. Therefore, because of their elevated self-esteem deriving from self-perceptions of competence and likability, high narcissists are relatively free of worry and gloom. Mm-hmm. So again, it's dealing with self-esteem. And I think that the target is not necessarily the empath, but it can be the empath with low self-esteem. So these are empaths. Yes. They know they're empaths. However, they don't have the confidence in themselves to be able to or want to actually address these types of issues. So for me, because I was there, I was passive. Boy, I was passive.
Oh yeah, because I don't want them upset with me, or I don't want to hurt or tarnish the relationship, or it's not that big of a deal. It's got to be something huge for an empath to, because we don't want to jeopardize anything. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's super toxic.
So it's really tapping into that self-esteem that we have. So like my mother always taught me that I was beautiful. I was beautiful, I was smart, I was intelligent, I could do anything that I want to do. My father said the same thing to me. But for some reason, I still became this passive, timid girl who was naive and gullible at times. You know what I'm saying? And I can admit that as I got older, I still functioned in that for some reason.
Yeah.
I still ended up functioning in that.
Yes.
What made me actually, I can say, a target for narcissists.
Yeah.
Because it was so easy. It was so easy because I don't know. It's always some type of void that a narcissist is going to cling on to.
Oh, yes.
It's not necessarily that they're filling the gap. Maybe it's an illusion that they're filling the gap, or they're realizing that, oh, this empath needs something. This empath needs somebody to be this for them. So I'm gonna pretend to be this for them.
And and that's the whole key word, pretend to be.
Because that's usually what it is. It's not you'll find out on down the line that, oh my gosh, this person wasn't nothing that I thought they were.
Exactly. And weren't any positive assistance to me at all.
Because we look towards the potential of people and we want to help you get to that point.
Yes.
We see it, we want to nurture it, we want to help cultivate it, we want to bring it out of you. And that desire to be that and do that puts the narcissist at the position of, oh, okay, come on in and do what you want to do.
That is it. Because the thing is, because they have an actual motive and a plan themselves. We go in with our mentality thinking like, oh, this is going to be a nice relationship, or, whatever it is. But it's like, they got a whole nother motive going on.
I want to speak towards this comment that we have down here.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, I see Saba. Hey, Saba.
Saba says there are also narcs that play victim as well.
Oh, big time. Saba. So I do readings for, I love Saba. I do readings for Saba. Saba is my best friend introduced me to Saba. I think I just saw Sharif on there too, my best friend. She knows what she's talking about, baby, when it comes down to narcissist. Okay. She has a Saba, maybe it'd be nice if next time we do a show, we could possibly have Saba on the show because she has a lot of input because she's experienced it herself. They
So
do
I'll do
play
this.
victim.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link in the comments, and if you would like
Mm-hmm.
to come on and share your information, I mean, not your information, but your experience or how you feel
Saba.
on this topic,
Yeah,
by all
tap in,
means, come
girl.
on in. I'm gonna go ahead and put it here in the comments.
She's
There we
got
go.
some wonderful input.
If you
She's
want to
got some
come on
wonderful
in, we
input.
welcome you. We welcome you.
Oh yeah, she's got some wonderful input. That young lady has been through a lot when it's come down to narcissists, for sure, for sure. And they definitely know how to play victim. When I tell you, the narcissists know how to play victim to the extent that once they actually become the victim, there ain't nobody looking at them no more. That's the devastating part because guess what? I'm still a damn narcissist, and it's still something in me that knows that, and you still kind of want to help the narc. You know what I mean? It's like because they are still human and they do still eventually go through things in life because life keeps lifing for all of us. But
Absolutely.
it's crazy because for the narc, it's the boy who cried wolf. They do it so much that when they do eventually go through something, ain't nobody paying attention no more. They drain all the resources with the fakeness. Yeah, they know how to
And
play
it's
victim,
interesting
baby.
to me too how when you come, you get your snap back, and you come
Yeah.
to and you wait a minute,
Hmm.
hold on,
Hey,
and
best friend.
you bring it to their you bring it to their attention, and then
Yeah.
it's almost like a role flip. So
Yes.
you're feeling hurt, you're
Oh.
feeling disappointed, whatever, by what you've discovered, and then all of a sudden you want to address them about it. But then it
Hmm.
becomes, wait a minute, hold on, but you and you and you and you and
Let
you
me
and you
tell you
and
something,
you. Yeah.
honey. The last thing, if you ready to have reverse psychology, if you ready to be exploited, if you ready to um, have your world come crumbling down, go ahead, approach a narcissist or disagree with one. Like you can on some grown shit. You know what I mean? Like on some real
Disagreement.
grown shit, you can go to them like, listen, baby, I got this problem, blah 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 blah. Like and it's like sheer and utter exposure. Have you ever seen a grown person have a tantrum?
Oh,
Like you got to,
yes.
honey, it's baffling to me, and it's like their reaction to being wrong is just like that. How dare you know what I mean? It's like I can't even have it. If we can't have an adult conversation, if I can never come to you with something that I view you as doing something wrong, what the hell type of relationship do you think this is going to be? But that's the type of relationship that they want. Don't come to me and say nothing to me. I'm supposed to be able to get away with whatever I want to get away with because I'm who the hell I am. It's like, well, guess what?
But do you understand where I'm coming from? You understand my perspective, but do
Yes.
you really understand?
Yes. Yes. But and me, yep, it's a flip around.
Yeah,
They're gonna
it's still that way.
baby, listen. It's one of the most childish experiences.
Sharitha says a narc can also rub off on you like a brainwashing off the mind. That I totally understand. I've experienced that too many times. If the narcissist can separate you from your family, your friends, your loved ones, all of that, if they can, they will. And they will use that tactic of brainwashing you. Like, do you see that? Did you hear what they said?
Your family ain't even
we don't
your
need to
family don't even want you around.
Yeah. They'll
You don't got no
brainwash
friends.
you. Most definitely.
Don't nobody got your back. Don't nobody love you but me. I'm the only one you got. Girl, toxicity on a whole nother level.
Absolutely. It's it's quite interesting. The way this works, though. I read the definition of an empath, but we're going to talk about that connection. So let me read a little bit more from this article. And this article comes from choosingtherapy.com. Okay. It's the dangerous relationship between empaths and Narcissist. This is by Sylvia Saxra. I believe that's how you say her name. So it says, when an empath meets a narcissist, the energy they sense triggers something in them that ignites their need to comfort the narcissist, believing they can heal and or help the narcissist. They pour themselves into showing the narcissist their worth, but the narcissist never will see it, taking advantage of the empath seeing their compassion as weakness. And they sure don't want you to get strong. They sure don't want you to begin to see and decide to separate yourself from it.
That's yes, honey.
And see, after that, then other traits come.
That's it.
Other things start to flow and come about. They start to become, that's when that obsession starts to kick in, especially when they have planted themselves so deeply into your life to where they only thrive off of what you give. There's nothing else.
Because it's like they're near the existence. It's almost like they can't exist without you. Like, because they actually look for so much validation within the empath. You know, especially depending on what type of narcissist you're dealing with. You got some who are chauvinistic. You got some who are very needy in that department too. You know, you got some real, high horse ones. Then you got them kind of need to be fed emotionally all the time, or need to be complimented all the, you know what I mean? Because they lack that, and it's levels to it. But you're their source though, regardless. You're their source. The big-headed ones that's up top, or the ones at the bottom who are always needy. You're their source. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for emotional stability, to make them feel like good people, even when the hell they're not. Like, because the mirror gonna show us every time. But the thing is the facade. They want somebody that's going to feed the ego, to feed their ego. Yeah, it's the ego that needs to be fed, and everything else in between. Yeah.
Are there do you believe that there are like signs? There's signs that show you that that's what that person is? Because like in the beginning of a relationship, in any capacity, friendship, a family member you done grown attached to or whatever.
Well, for me, my experience, like the signs were, like I was breaking down earlier, like for me, naturally, if I love you, or if I even care about you a lot, if we're having a conversation, especially if I got it, we're having a conversation and I hear somebody say, and the thing is, it's like, it doesn't take long for a narcissist to find this out about me, okay, or us as individuals, the empaths who possess this negative trait. I'm sick and I'm going through the blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if I already know your Cash App, I'm probably going to send it before you even ask me, and once they find out that they don't have to ask, all they have to do is call and voice that they have this problem. Because to me, they know how it's gonna. It don't take long. It doesn't take long, especially when you have a person that's needy in your world. If they needy from the jump, they're always good. I'm have more conversations with that person about things that they need versus our conversations aren't the same. I don't need a bunch of stuff, so you're not gonna hear me saying I need. You know what I mean? Hardly ever. They get
comfortable. They get very comfortable to the
real comfortable, real quick. And when they realize that you are open source, especially like how I do it, like, oh, I don't even gotta ask, all I have to do is, and then it's like all I gotta do is pick up the phone. That's how I it's like that's how I realize that a narcissist is a narcissist.
They'll get comfortable and they'll assert themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a sure tell sign that a person don't have no problem with using you. That's one of my signs, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like eventually I am going to need. And when I pick up this phone, excuse my language, and I say, I'm going through X, Y, and Z, and you don't offer me the same way I've been offering you for Lord knows how long, because you better trust and believe that I'm not going to ask, and I don't get that same thing in return, then I'm feeling some type of way. And so that's also a toxic trait. But it also puts me back into that standpoint of like, if I can never depend on you, then what is the point? For me as an empath, I've learned to pick up on that like really fast, like especially being older. I don't even let relationships go on too long. When I realize that's what it is, I'm cutting that shit off real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Friends, co-workers, all of that. Like if once I start feeling like I will never be able to reciprocate anything from you because I know I'm too much of a giver, I'm cutting that off real quick. No, because I don't want to necessarily turn that part off of who I am, because it's only negative when I'm utilizing it in that shape or form. I'm supposed to be a giver. So I have to be aware, though, that there's also people out here who are worthy of me giving to them and won't take advantage of me giving to them. I don't ever want to exit out of a relationship like, I ain't gonna never be nice to people no more. I'm not never gonna help people no more. No, that's just who I am. And I love that about me so much. I love that about, because I do love to make people happy. But I just have to come to the correct realization that, and God keeps me aware now of the people who are worthy of me doing that for. It makes it so much easier for me not to hurt my own feelings and allow that really good trait or good part of me to become tainted. That's not supposed to be tainted. You know, I'm supposed to be a giver, and I want to be, and I'm going to be. And I just know now, it's like, God, thank you for showing me that, because it makes it so much easier for me now to choose who to give to. There's people who deserve somebody like me.
How did you get there? That's the thing.
Because I got tired of being taken advantage of, and then God started to show me my worth. Spirit started to show me who I was, and too, because we're different people in different stages in life. I thank God for that part. I thank God, because it's like when you have these narcissistic and empathic experiences, if we're not leveling up and learning from them, we're gonna consistently keep going through these, experiences. And I'm just learning. I'm just learning slowly but surely. I'm sure I'll have another narcissistic experience in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure I'll probably be a narcissist to somebody else if you were to ask them. And who am I to say that I'm not? But at the end of the day, what I do know for sure is that if I am a narc in somebody's life, I am the type of narcissist, if this is what you want to call it. If somebody can say that I caused them harm, if somebody can say that, oh, she didn't have my best interests at heart, or she was out to get me, I know my purpose in people's life. I will exile myself. I will exile myself from your world, because I care about you that much. So that way, you know for sure I'm not that person in your world. You can put that on somebody else, but I know that I'm not here for that in people's lives. So that's how much of a empathic narcissist I am. I'll remove myself, because
it sounds like you kind of have a balance.
And you have to.
Yeah.
You have
able to check yourself, being able to look at yourself.
I guess the reason why I put it that way is because I could never convince a narcissist that I'm not a narc in their life. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Narcissists don't even want to take responsibility for being one, first of all. And then it's just a ploy. It's so easy for a narcissist to make it seem like the empath was actually the narc in their world. You know what? It's so easy for them to do that. And if that's what you want to portray me to be, then I'm perfectly okay with that, because I know that I came into your world with empathic energy, and I left your shit with empathic energy. Because if I was really a narc that was really trying to destroy you or really trying to take advantage of you, then I would stay and I would do just that. So with that being said, swallow it, because I ain't none of that. Not, at least not for that person. Let me be that for the person I actually was trying to be that too. Let me actually destroy your world. Let me actually take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Before you put me in that category. Yeah. So they're gonna swallow that.
Well,
then choke on it.
So the other thing with the narcissism energy. After the fact, and we talked about the obsession, right? Becoming obsessed and going through those phases. It persists, and it continues, and it continues, and it continues, and it continues. They're still trying to utilize that manipulative energy.
That is some of the most toxic. When I tell you that shit is that is the most toxic. That's where the psychological, like where it really runs deep in a person's psyche, because you can literally go years and they will still stalk you. Yeah. You can never reach out. I'm not calling you. I'm not texting you. I'm not on your platform. I'm not at your job. I'm not emailing. I'm not telegramming you. None of that. Okay. I ain't even sending no vibrations out to your ass because I'm so busy blocking it. And they will still find a way to pop up in your world. And that's the part that is so toxic to me, because it's like, do you not understand that the definition of what it looks like when somebody ain't fucking with you? Do you not understand what that looks like? And they will try they'll stalk your world. They'll stalk your life. They'll call your mama. They will call your pastor. Do you understand? They'll reach out to the church for you, girl, and they are atheists. This how I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them, Phoenix. That's how deep it is. It's supply. They want to make sure they keep an open source because they know you're empathic. You got to understand they already had a chance to experience you. So in their mind, I'm on a whole hope and prayer that if I show back up again, especially if I show up needy, they're going to have that empathic side of them again that's going to take me back because they care about people, because they once upon a time cared about me. You understand? And now I'm going to try it again. That's where it gets real fun for me. That's where I start to feel like a narcissist myself, because it's like, and I know it sounds messed up because I am this individual person that's supposed to be on this spiritual journey, and I am, but some people I will not spit on it if they were on fire. And the thing is because I didn't put you on fire. I don't wish anybody anything other than what they deserve. You cannot be a toxic, negative, horrible person and not have to reap your repercussions and your consequences in life. If I help the narcissist, I'm interfering in karma and in God's work. Now I'm going to have some shit on me because I'm helping you and knowing good and well you were a horrible person the whole time. What if you helping the narcissist recover from the karma that they suffering for doing you dirty? Then what?
Hold on, sis. Hold on. So we got Denali back in here. You know, we had him on the show before last in the comments. So brother says that women are narcissists. Of course.
Yeah, we can't be all of us. Yeah, that's not a sex thing. That's not a male or female thing. That's a universal. Kids too.
It's a people thing. It's just a people thing.
Yeah.
He also says that women deal with narcissistic personality disorder more than men. Brother, if you would like to come up here and voice your opinion, we have a link here in the comments that you can go ahead and click. Let me see. Did it show up here on Facebook? It did not. Give me a moment and I will put it in there for you. Come on in, and we would love to hear your perspective.
Man, because I know some men got some real crazy narcissistic stories when it come down to these women out here. They got their stories too.
Oh yeah.
Narcissistic baby mamas.
Look, you and me both do readings. And I hear a lot of stories about that behavior, about the situations from the women's perspective. And sometimes I'll be real honest, it's a little bit more harsh.
It is. Women are the worst.
Yeah.
Girl, women are the worst. When I tell you, listen, my best friend, I have a couple best friends. My best friend was a lesbian. And honey, when I tell you, she used to have me dying like, girl, best friend of women are something else. Like, you got to be careful breaking up with a narcissistic woman because they something different. I feel sorry for men, especially if they have children by them. They really make it toxic. I sit back and because I do readings for men too. It is some toxic women out here. When you don't give a toxic narcissistic woman what they want, especially if you're married to them, they are literally, they will go for the jugular, take you for every single thing you got, honey, and go run off with another man with it so quick, fast, and in a hurry, like they never cared about you to begin with. They do exist.
Yes, they will. And they're going to take too.
Sure is. Listen, and gonna take your last name right along with it.
Your ass about it. I'm a woman and you want me to what? How dare you? Really?
Yes.
You're not going to consider my feelings. Like, come on now. We know that this happens.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for men who have to go through that, especially when you see because there's so many horrible fathers out here. I hate that so much when you see a good father out here and they want to keep the children away from them. You know, like you got these good dads that my husband, if we ever divorce, he's the type of man that I will never put on child support. I will never put him on child support. Why would I when he takes care of his children already? Why would I do that? I would only be divorcing because he's not a good husband, not because he's not a good father. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you got some women that they want to go, nope, I'm taking you to court for child support and I want half and I want this and all of that. No.
everything they get.
Mhm.
So I want the house. I want the car. No, you can't see
Yeah.
the kids. I want
I want the bed
alimony.
because I'll be damned if you sleep with another woman in that bed. I want the bed too. Okay, like that's how they are, girl. They want the they want this toothbrush. How petty women can be.
Okay. All right. So the
Mhm.
brother is in here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him to the stage.
Okay.
Peace, peace, bro. How are you?
Peace. What's good? I'm doing
Oh,
pretty good. Good to
Good.
see y'all.
Thank
good
you.
to see
Thank you. Good
you.
to see you.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your perspective, bro?
Well, look. So from the male perspective, I've dated women all my life, right? So since let's say really paying attention to relationships around high school, college, young adult, I just noticed that when it came to really feeling entitled, feeling that there are certain things or perspective that I had that didn't agree with theirs, and it must agree with theirs, and kind of the power dynamic of relationships. I always felt like, hey, what's up with this control thing? That it seems like women
Mhm.
want to. It's almost like you have to fight for it, um, and it's like you know how a person would say, let's just say this, right? Give you an example. I think men, because we are providers and protectors, we automatically have a role of authority. It comes with it because in order to protect you, I have to sometimes ask you to not do certain things that you're doing because I'm like, hey, I think that's unsafe. Mainly because men are the most aggressive people on earth. And so, from a male perspective, I'm saying, hey, I think I know men a little bit better than you. And I think I know what's going on in our minds. I've talked to uncles, cousins, friends. We're aggressive dudes. Hey, don't do that. And so to not accept the fact that authority has to come with that, because I'm asking you not to do something, or to give you an example of if we are out in public and it's my job to protect you, right? And I say, hey, let's go this way, and you automatically pull and say, no, I don't want to do what you always say do. And I'm like, hey, I need you to do this because I'm thinking of a whole different perspective. I think it's that role where you guys are trying to gain power, and it causes a mechanism that says I have to do it in this manipulative way, which brings about the narcissism. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I get it.
So
I, I
to me, it comes from a need to fight where there is no real fight. Right?
Hmm.
so how so and I'm just considering I'm a woman and you a man. So in the case that it was the situation like you said at the store, and you come over because there's a in your mind, is it danger that you see like as a
Yeah,
warning?
I think for myself and nearly every man that I've ever spoken with, it's always been a matter of we are always looking and detecting for dangerous situations because our nature is to understand being men are dangerous creatures, right?
Okay.
So we're thinking, I'm looking out for you, I'm looking out for me, I'm looking out for my family. So that puts me in a position to where it's not an argument. It's not a matter of
Or
your
it
opinion.
shouldn't be. It shouldn't be an
Yeah,
argument, but
it shouldn't be. It's I'm asking you to do this as a matter of safety and protection.
mhm.
It's my job and my duty to do so. So to bring up the fight, like I'm saying,
Maybe, and I'm not trying to defend the narcissist, but maybe she has that narcissistic trait because she did not, maybe because she had to be the protector.
and I get that. Yes, I completely agree with that to a couple of different standpoints. I think when male leadership is absent, perhaps even from a younger age, a woman needs to be her own protector.
Mm-hmm.
So she will develop that fight mode in the fight or flight sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It's for her. It's like, nah, I ain't running for nothing. I'm squaring up 100% of the time.
It takes a certain level of trust, though.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So being able to take her out of that environment, that want to be that independent woman in that aspect, wanting to be the protector, you have to pull her out of that position of being that to where she can solely put her trust in you in being that.
At least if you can.
Things, yeah. But if she has
at least if you can, because some people sometimes you're not even capable of doing that. My thing is how long do you let the relationship go on until you realize that I can't be the leader for her. You know what I mean?
I think for men, I've gotten to a space in my current relationship and in my previous experience where I'm telling myself and I'm telling guys, man, stop being so goddamn understanding of why she's narcissistic. Right? If I don't give a damn why you are the way you are. If you show up a certain way, and from the moment I know that I can't protect you because that's not really what you want from me, you already throw me off a position. True. Right? So I'm this way because of my family growing up. All right, cool. Listen, get therapy.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'm this way because of, my previous relationship and, my divorce. Okay, cool. I'm glad you recognize where this was developed from. Get therapy. But until you do what you need to do on your end, and until I recognize a difference, I'm not here to hope you get better or to hope that you get through your 12-step program or, for whatever reason. And I'm telling
my question
guys
to you with that then, was there ever a point that you cared about her past if you had a relationship with her?
I think from my experience and from what I'm hearing from friends and family, we care too much about the excuse.
No, I'm not asking. And I know you said friends and family. I'm talking to you like individually. I'm not generally speaking. I want to know from your perspective is if you were in a relationship with a narcissistic woman, how you just broke it down. Like, I don't care about the reason why you're narcissistic. I don't care. But was there ever a point that you cared about her past, period? I mean, this is a person who
absolutely.
have no problem with being in a relationship with. Like, I feel like knowing their past is really important with knowing who you laying next to. So did you ever care?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I cared too much. That's what I'm saying. I think some part of me was taught at some point that I needed to care too much about what she had been through in order to be in a position to where I believe I'm here to help her. Most men that I know, especially men, I consider myself a decent guy enough to say, I met you here, right? And let's say I met you to put it on a spectrum, right? Let's say 0 is totally off cuff, 10 is doing very, very well, right? Let's say I met you right in the middle, 5, where when I said hello and we started to talk, there's some stuff going on regarding the ex-boyfriend or the father or the ex-husband or whatever it is. And so you come with that, you come edgy, and I'm like, okay, I get that, but I have a belief that I'm different. I have a belief that I have some tools that are different and I can help because for some reason I've gravitated towards you like a magnet. Right. And so because I believe and I've been taught, and I think so many men have been taught to put the weight of the world on your shoulders and to press through, to never give up, to fight for what you believe in, and all of these different things, I think that are really foolish and superficial to taking care of actually number one, which is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay around and say, nah, man, I think this 5 can really be an 8, man, within a good, 6 months to a year or so in our relationship, because I think I can bring these things.
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, that 6 to 8 months can really be hellacious and, cause you more damage than you're even willing to admit yourself, because again, you don't want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that 5 and you're like, damn, man, I really don't see that 6 or 7. And shit, man, I've talked to the ex-husband.
You reach a point where it's too much now. I
Yeah.
understand.
And maybe because let me say this. Most men I know have been taught to have this thing called stick-to-itiveness. We engage in something, we commit in something to something, we see the issues around that, but for us, it's, man, I'm only 6 months in. I'm only 18 months in.
Mm-hmm.
And now it becomes, okay, I'm 3 years in, but I see us turning that corner.
Yeah.
And I've invested so much into this 36 month process. I was telling my homeboy the other day, man, we have to be careful who we invest in from day one, because you got to know, oh man, she on fire, bro. I can't do it.
That's why you got to stop picking 5s. If you got to scale from 1 to 10.
I mean, I'm just giving you an example. I think more. I think more 5s are available in the market than the 8.
Yeah.
So when you look at the law of averages,
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna come across 5. And I'm also saying this. I'm also saying to myself, and I'm saying to my brothers, my homeboys, bro, slow down and create a process before you even get to any major investment of yourself into anyone. So if you engage someone and she wants to move too fast, that's probably because she's hiding the fact that she's a 5. Because she comes out to the world dressed as an 8.
Gotcha.
And she wants to get you in this mode where you're like, oh my God, she's paying attention.
Got all this potential.
She's responsive. I'm texting, she's texting, I'm calling, she's answering. When I want to do something, she's available. And like, man, but I've learned this term. Actually, when I was dating my wife, so this is about 15 years ago, she used this term, representative phase.
Okay.
It's the time where you meet someone and you're like, all right, I's dotted, T's crossed, makeup beat, or for a guy, mask on. I'm putting the $300 dates, boom, boom, boom. This representative phase, where in that phase is where you get them, you get them head struck, you get them googly eyed. You get them in bed too soon, and now you are tussling with the fact that you're having a physically good time with this person, and then once that person forgets to put on makeup that day, i.e. women, or once the guy forgets to put the mask on that day, i.e. men, then it's like, oh shit. What have I been dealing with?
Yeah, and then this became our normal.
You're right. And then it becomes this thing where, damn, baby, why didn't you tell me you had a scar on your left cheek? I would have taken you from the beginning.
Up under that wig.
Right. Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, all you had to do is be honest with me for the beginning,
Up front, yeah.
and up
Yeah.
front, or from the male perspective, the female is like, baby, why didn't you tell me that you really wasn't coming off of steak dinners like that? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
that's where you
Right.
took me. We didn't have to go to steak dinners, but that's what you threw out, and we didn't have to go to the mall and really do that, but that's what you came out with. And so the guy's like, man, I did that because I thought that's what I needed to impress you and get you. But I'm really a food truck sandwich eating dude.
Not even realizing she the same way.
And that might be so. That might be so.
And they
But then you
deserve each
got
other.
have a faker and a faker.
Yeah.
But I think
that's irony, sheer and utter irony.
yeah. But I think when it comes to what I've experienced with this word narcissist that became popular the last year or two, I really see that when you, male or female, that person is dealing with control issues attached to traumas when other people either were supposed to have authority and they got thrown under the bus, or they got left, neglected, abused, whatever the situation is, or where they never learned how to be in the position that they are in, well, whether it be leadership position or how to follow you got to learn how to follow. So and then and I think that the fight, or I keep going back to like articles and journals that I've read, where that fight or flight response is what generates this, where we've been taught not to flee. But like I just said, fellas, if you coming across a woman and she's giving you these red flags and these cues, bro, running is protecting yourself.
And ain't nothing wrong with getting yourself away from and cutting off. When when it comes down to women, men need to understand they need to cut it loose.
That's
man,
I'm gonna read this before y'all go back in. I'm gonna read this. This was a meme that I stumbled across on Facebook, and I was just like, wow, okay, this is perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Someone who had a narcissist, someone who has little to no empathy, manipulates others, gaslights, making others doubt their reality, lies insistently, believes their own lies. They make you doubt your emotions and then call you crazy. They rage for absolutely no reason, and you end up apologizing. It can be a parent, friend, brother, sister, boss, spouse. In the beginning, they love bomb you into believing they are prince or princess charming. Then they slowly start to abuse you to have you believe you are insane. All to control you. They will isolate you from your family and friends. You will leave the relationship someone you weren't. You will appear confused, unable to make your own decisions, depressed, anxious, and with complex PTSD. So run, far away, run.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I wanted to read that because it really puts it all in a nutshell. Like what you were saying, Brother Denali. What I feel is this, and this is how I feel about relationships, period. I think that when you decide to bring somebody into your life, that person should be the added bonus to whatever you already have going on. I don't believe in 50-50. Okay.
Right. No, that don't make any sense. Right.
I believe in 100-100. So when you good, you 100%, and I'm good, I'm 100%, and we come together. That's what really makes the whole. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that like you were saying, if a woman was 5, you didn't know she was 5 or whatever. That's why I was saying it's okay to leave that. It's okay to leave that alone. It's like, hey, I'll get out as long as I possibly can. I've done everything that I can. I've been there for you.
Especially if you do it early off.
Yeah, at this point, it's draining me. And at this point, it's turning me into somebody that I'm not. That should be fully understood. Because that's the last thing, somebody should want to do with another person. But however, that is the goal of a narcissist. They want to manipulate you to the point to where you become what they want you to be, so they can continue manipulating you, continue using you, making you what they want.
Consistent supply.
Go ahead.
I got a thought. Have you heard, or possibly even it's happened to you or you've done it, but the narrative of a person saying, you're not fighting for the relationship.
Oh yeah, I've heard
you're not fighting for me.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I remember in my early 20s, I dated a young lady, and for me in my early 20s, I was in the mindset of I'm figuring it out, right? I'm not. I used to be called nonchalant, and my mindset was always, hey man, we're young and we really just met, so I'm not concerned. I'm not making myself concerned with whatever your business is. And of course, when you're young, it's like, well, you're in school and you may be working 2 or 3 jobs or whatever the situation is. I'm not going to jump to jealousy, or I'm not going to question what you're doing and who you're doing it with, so on and so forth. I'm just like, hey man, if you say that we're in this defined relationship, I'm cool with that. But the idea, well, you want me to be jealous, right? And that whole being jealous means to fight for this thing. No, it don't. Not at all. Like, what am I'm fighting for? I'm presenting myself.
You're fighting them. My thing is it will be because that statement is, it's just crude. When you hear somebody say you're not fighting for the relationship, that normally comes out of the mouth of somebody who is being combative, or that's the person that you're butting heads with. So it's like, do I have to fight you for the relationship? Why do I have to fight you?
Who am I fighting?
To maintain the relationship?
I think that's
normally what it is. That means you're not doing what I want you to do. You're not doing what I tell you to do. So you're not fighting. And it's like, no, because you get ready to fight yourself. Nobody should have a relationship that's the definition of fighting, because that's what it is to a narcissist. Like a real relationship, because we have to fight in real relationships to keep them together. And that's the outside world. You know what I mean? It's, at least that's what it's supposed to be when it comes on to fighting for a relationship. It's not supposed to be that I'm fighting my significant other to keep it, but that's a narcissistic way of thinking. And that's what they mean. That's actually what they mean.
I think that's the manipulation.
Oh, big time.
As I'm recalling that, I remember very distinctively this one incident where you don't care about me, you don't care what's going on, and I'm just like, well, why is that even a topic of discussion? Like, what are you trying to? Because
how dare you not come and check on me after I bust all the windows out your car? Like, how dare you didn't even check on me, after I did something stupid, because you didn't do what I wanted. You ain't come see me in the hospital when I slipped my wrist or whatever. Just stupid.
Exactly. And that's manipulation, where it's like, that's not even that's not a issue. That's not even a topic. That's manipulation, because this is not about how you felt about my response. Like me, I'm here, I'm present in this relationship. How I responded to something may not be how you think I should respond to something, but me responding at all is being in this relationship.
Oh yeah. That's why I think love language is important too. Yeah. There are some people out here who truly think that busting people's windows out is a sign of love. Like, girl, he loved me. Girl, he done bust all my windows out. Like, I never thought, somebody.
That's what you've been taught.
I done bleached all his, and it's like they equate that to love. And the crazier it get, the deeper the love.
That's what you've been taught. If that is what you've been taught, man, she loved the hell out you, bro. She ain't letting you go.
That's it.
Not letting you go is love. We're not letting you go in the action that proves that is destroying private property.
That I should be letting you go. Yeah.
That's proof. Yeah, she or he is being violent because they love you.
That's it. And that's how the narcissists like to
That ain't
explain
love.
it. Yeah, that's how the narcissists like to explain it. I only did that because you know what I
Why
mean?
do
Like, no, that ain't no love attached to that. There's no love attached to toxicity. Not
Mm.
that type of toxicity. Listen, I don't want nobody showing me how much they love me by making my life a living hell.
No, man, that shit is out for someone. I'm 44 years old. I'll be 45 in November. Um, I've seen a lot, right?
Yeah.
I've done my part for sure. But as I think back on my part and then seeing a lot, I'm like, man, we needed some tools back when I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn this stuff. And I have a 9-year-old daughter. I find myself having a lot of conversations with her that some may deem inappropriate because of her age, because she's 9. But I'm like, no, if if we're having a discussion, especially about relationships and stuff, because she wants to know about the relationships in life. She want to know
Mm-hmm.
about that fight her and her mom had. Me and her mom had, or she wants to ask something about her grandparents and something that she witnessed, or whatever it is. I'm going to talk to her. I learned if a kid asks a question, they're
Mm-hmm.
old enough for the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Period. No matter what it is, because they've been exposed to this thing they want answers for.
Mm-hmm.
And as a parent, you are the only person responsible for the truth to them in the world. Like nobody owes them truth. The person
Right.
in the corner don't owe them truth. The teacher at school don't owe them truth. You're the only person responsible on earth for the
I'm trying
truth.
to say
So
that it's your responsibility to
yeah.
teach them and
Yeah.
train them up.
So if they're coming to you and they're asking you something that maybe you think is a little bit more too mature for their age, well, hey, they know more about that shit than you realize.
I'm about
Oh
to say
yeah.
this
So
world that we live in right now, you have to. You have to do it before somebody else do it.
that's it. Because if you don't like, we can admit in our lifetime, we learned some shit that was fucked up from some fucked up somebody in our family,
Mm-hmm.
fucked up neighbor, person down the street, fucked up person at
Mm-hmm.
school.
Mm-hmm.
And that lesson that we learned was from hell, 100%. But for us, we looked up to, like, let's say I looked up to that gang member
Mm-hmm.
in my neighborhood because that was the dude.
Yeah.
Right.
So when he said something, that shit that was like, you know, that was the thing. Or that Playboy. Remember, like, damn, bro, he get all the girls. Oh, so hey man, what you think about this? Bruh, what you gotta do is boom, boom, boom. And he teaching me just straight pimpology shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm just like, my naive ass, I want all the girls. I'm not supposed to be learning how to get all of the girls because there's no way in hell I can manage all of the girls. There's no way in hell I can handle my business as a young man and matriculate and try to get all of the girls. But your parents are the ones that are supposed to see what's going on with you, see where you are in your maturity, ask you questions to engage in stuff, and then tell you, well, hey, where did you learn that from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I learned that from Nunu. You took Nunu that's been in and out of jail 3 times before he's
Mm-hmm.
14 years old.
Right.
Damn, son. Well, you might be on your way to jail if you listen to Nunu.
Mm-hmm.
Or, such and such. Oh man, you talking about the dude who got his tires slashed? Because don't he mess with like 4, 5 women? Well,
Mm-hmm.
son, you probably on your way to get my tires slashed in my car that
Yeah,
you're
because that's
using.
the
Take you down the
benefit of
wrong
owning
path.
all the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't,
Taking
we
you down
didn't,
the wrong
we
path.
didn't know better.
So I do think it's, as parents, it's our duties to take even, the situations that we go through, because our children watch, they see, they know
Oh
what we
yeah.
deal with, and to take them and use them as teachable moments. That's what I do. I have a 16-year-old. She sees everything, and she knows how I feel. She knows what's right and wrong that has occurred. She knows on both sides and both ends, everything. And like I said, it's our duty to teach them. That's our responsibility
Yeah.
to show them the way. If I can have you learn from my experiences and my examples, by all means, that's what I'm going to do. My
Oh
boys,
yeah.
I have to show them the other side, the flip side of things. Hey,
Yep.
you see how this just made me? You see how mama is right now? You see what's going on with
Mm-hmm.
mama right now? You saw what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Don't take that with you. Don't
Yes.
take that. Don't internalize that. Don't think that that is the right way to do things. It's not.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
teach
yeah.
them both sides of it, both perspectives, because of course, and I'm gonna just say, past relationship that I was in, of course, we had conversations about happenings and things that transpired or whatever. I'm gonna tell them the perspective I got and understood from that person. Now I'm gonna tell you my perspective as well. I want my children to understand. I don't want them to feel, and then also feel like they can come back to me and ask me questions. You know what I'm
All
saying?
100% of the time, man.
Yeah, when they do get
Mm-hmm.
put in those situations and they realize that it's something similar, I want them to say, "Hey, Ma, such and such and such and such and such." I want them to be able to do that. But
Yeah,
one, we don't want
before
them
the world gets a hold of them and taint that
yeah,
image or taint that
we don't
ideal of them. Yeah, start at home. Yes,
because we don't
it's
want them to
even
put them
young.
in
These
those
school age kids, that's one of the worst ages. Because there's a such thing as narcissists that are children too.
Oh,
Like
shit.
kids
That's where
get
it
out
started.
here, yeah, they go to school and they have their first encounters with narcissists at school. If their first encounter isn't already at home, and how do they know how to handle it? How do they know how to handle that bully? Like, yeah, it's levels to it all. You gotta have these conversations with our kids early on from grade school on up.
That's right. That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
That's
And
right.
it's good especially too, if your daughter doesn't have a problem with coming to asking you these questions. That just
Mhm.
means that we've made, or our children in general, we've at least as parents made them comfortable enough to know that it's okay to come to us and ask us. You know what I mean? It's almost
Oh,
like,
I absolutely love it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
I
know that they
absolutely
can
love
come
it.
to us and get some real genuine. I got two sons and two daughters. It's that I definitely get it from both spectrums. Like, I don't care what nobody say. I always try my best to explain to my daughters, because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not telling my daughters to go out here and pick no bums, but I'm also not telling them to go out here and find no fucking relationship based on the amount of money that a man got in his pocket. But I
Right.
also need my sons to understand that you have to be a man of a certain stature to be able to provide for your woman and your children. But
You
you
gotta
ain't
get
necessarily
money.
got to go and break your back for no woman because she want all these, name brand bags and all this other stuff too. It's a balance for it all, you
Right.
know? It's a
Absolutely.
balance. And watch out for the narcissists, especially with the kids, their friends, their first loves. Like, oh my God, it runs deep. As parents, we owe that to our kids to at least try our best to, even if we don't use the terminology of narcissists, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a breakdown for them, so that they can know how to maneuver and to navigate through their own experiences. Yeah, thank God they know they're comfortable enough with coming to it. Sometimes my kids be coming to me with stuff that I'll be like, well, damn, I wasn't even ready for that.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. Hey,
but we gotta be
them the
ready
best
for it.
ones
Here,
though.
you guys hold it
Yep,
down for
that's
me
it.
just a second.
Them be the
Okay,
best
go ahead,
ones,
Susan.
man.
Yeah, most definitely. It's especially once they get, I feel like when they're young, they're experiencing their first narcissistic experiences, but then they grow up, and then, like, once they become adults, that's a whole, now they're introduced to the adult world of narcissism. And even when they grown, they still need our advice then. My oldest is 22 and my youngest is 12. So, I got them all in between. Yeah.
So peep this thought. I was talking to a friend recently in my own thoughts, just going in my own thoughts, and then I have conversations with her from time to time. But the thought came that men, for the most part, and maybe it goes across genders, but
Mm-hmm.
um, we're not even taught to identify as a lot of the things that we go through in relationships as a heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Man, she
Yeah.
broke my heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're not even taught to identify that
Right.
state that we're in is
Mm-hmm.
brokenheartedness. Like, it's disappointing, we
Yeah.
pissed off, or like what I'm discussing with a lot of my married homeboys now is like, man, she won't listen. She don't understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do this, man. I'm working my ass off. And like one of my homeboys, I said, man, bro, you sound like you're really, really bothered, by this situation, man. Is it disappointing to you? And I'm talking to him like, he said, yeah, man. And I'm like, why? Because we've had these discussions. She know I'm working hard. She know I'm trying to put together a plan to do more and, so on and so forth. And I remember listening to him to a point where I'm deeply into what he's saying, and I didn't have a rebuttal because I said, damn, man, I got to do this. And I told him, I said, man, we got to talk again, bro, because I don't think I have anything to say right now, but you talking some shit that I'm really familiar with. And I don't know, but because you're striking a nerve with me. And then when I was talking to my friend, I said, man, I've been brokenhearted in a number of occasions, but never spoke to anybody from that perspective.
Right.
I never said she broke my heart, bro. I never said, bro, like I'm devastated.
It's like men ain't supposed to cry, kind of stigma.
Right, for sure, 100%. And that the mindset is even to come at your homeboy is like, man, that shit just fucked up, bro. Like, what the hell is going on with her? Like, I'm a good dude. I'm this type, so on and so forth. But what we are really saying is, I'm in a relationship with a woman who has broken my heart by XYZ, whatever it is.
And this is how I feel about it. This is how
this is how I feel. So the reason why I say, it cross genders, because I know women have expressed that so openly, and I felt like I didn't recognize it at the time, but I felt kind of even jealous that this woman was just like, damn, she laid it all out.
Right. And was able to comfortably
in that environment, like, damn, like the women really came for her and was like, encouraging words and shit. Right. Where in the men environment, we're so used to dealing with shit from a locker room standpoint. Man, you a simp type stuff, or like, man,
or they camouflage it with working more, like with doing things so that they don't have to feel emotions.
So with that thought, what I told my friend, I said, regarding therapy, I said, man, I hadn't even I've had therapy before. I said I hadn't even felt comfortable to even tell my therapist or ask my therapist, and maybe I didn't even know, because this is I think a new thought of, man, how do men deal with broken hearts? How do we deal with having a heart broken in the current relationship and commitment that we're in? Because we come, like, here was the thought that I told her. I said, from my perspective, this is a big thing, and I'm saying this for the first time, kind of putting myself out there in this situation.
That's okay. You can do that here.
You stay here with us.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But I was wondering, like, man, when am I going to say this? And just to be just frank, right? I think, let's say a man is in a relationship and he's unfaithful. Couldn't he be brokenhearted, not know what to do in that relationship, but his mindset is on, well, I'm going out and dealing with what I'm dealing with. And then, of course, there are, plenty of women that are available for me to chit chat with, get to know, and so on and so forth. Or, what they call strip club therapy. Right? You like, man, fuck all this shit, man. I'm finna go get some bands and just bam. Right? And then all of a sudden you have an actress who is there to hear all of your problems as long as you keep it flowing. as long as you got the drinks flowing and table dances going and so on and so forth, or you have someone that's befriended you, or some homegirl you've known for a while, and you get into that therapy session, so to speak, with them. But what you're really dealing with is the fact that you're brokenhearted, but you don't know how to leave a relationship. And maybe in that relationship, because you have duty, because you are married, because you have children, you have so many things in common that you guys have built. So it becomes this temporary fix, so to speak. That's not a temporary fix, but it's just like, it's what's available at that time. And so when I was talking to my homegirl about it, I said, man, this is something I think brothers, I've never heard a man say this. I'm pretty sure this is somewhere out there in some book on the internet somewhere, but that is a response to some type of pain.
Oh yeah.
Some type of trauma. I'm not talking about the guys that's just out there. I'm not talking about the irresponsible Negroes that is just, in and out. I'm saying someone who has gone through something in their relationship and they don't have their defenses up, and it puts a man in a vulnerable position. And you have women who they're sharks and vultures.
Well, do you think that it would be appropriate or okay for a man to have, for him to have a feminine support system like after a breakup, considering, that's where the support comes from? Do you think that would assist, or like at least help the men in the healing process? If they feel like they can't go and cry on their homeboy's shoulder, and sit and let it out, do you think that having a close female friend, would that be beneficial for a man that's going through, a heartbreak?
To be 100% honest, on both ends, I've said this for a long time, man, that's what your cousin's for, man.
Okay, so your answer is yes.
That's what your auntie is for.
It don't matter the relationship as long as it's not the person who hurt you or your ex.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying very specifically, the family unit is supposed to be intact and fortified, so much so to where you go talk to auntie about that.
Right. Okay.
You go talk to your female cousin about that. So
what if you don't have that? What if you don't have family? Do you because the thing is, it's like, do you think that it's possible for a man and a woman to have that type of, and I only say that for the sake of friendship, being able to have somebody to help you in the healing process. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing is where my mentality is like, we are human. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it's okay for women to have a heartbreak, it should be okay for men to have a heartbreak too. If it's okay for women to have a support system, it should be okay for a man to have a support system too. The thing is that we just need the support. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think
what he's saying is not necessarily a female friend to go to, because oftentimes the emotions and the feeling, the vulnerability.
Well, he made the comment that you can't cry on your homeboy's shoulders. So if you can't cry on your homeboy's shoulders,
they give you too much tough love and tell you, man, suck that shit up and keep it moving. That's not
right, but that's not necessarily what he probably would need. Like, I feel like, and if I'm wrong, let me know. But I feel like what he's saying is like, when a woman has a heartbreak, she has a more secure support system. Going to with a homeboy who giving you some Rex and buying drinks at the strip club, that's not adequate therapy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it may heal you for the moment.
I wouldn't go to my homegirls like that. Not. I will go to someone of authority, someone who has really
elders.
We'll go to my elders. Like, I'll go to my mother, I'll go to my father. If I need a male perspective and a feminine perspective, that's where I go. I go to my mother,
before the man.
That's
my homegirls.
That's a safe space, and that's what I'm saying. Because I'm gonna introduce something if you don't already know it. Men develop a physiological response to females who help us.
Okay.
So the woman, the friend that I go to, and she on point and is there, I want to reciprocate that by turning her on.
Okay.
By giving her something that I know I've had the experience of, I can do something for you. Like
Okay, so
in
do you see? But do you see? So with that being said, and I hear you, but do you see where that becomes toxic? Because the thing
absolutely.
is
Oh,
that
what
you
100%.
just
What
supposed to
yeah.
be
Yeah, because
receiving.
vice versa.
Yeah.
It goes
See
both ways.
that's what I'm saying is, like, give you an example. I have a female cousin that's going through a situation, and her and I were talking about our situations. She was in a 100% safe space with me. So when she talked, I'm like 100, just ear open, experience, whatever book knowledge that I had. She was 100% safe in that room with me, and we talked for however many, it's probably 2 hours or something. It was about 2-3 hours, and she was absolutely safe with me, and I was absolutely safe with her. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If that was a homeboy from high school, a homeboy from college, a former work associate, you don't know if that Negro has been waiting for you to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
just what's going on out here in the dynamic. Like we're given trust in situations where you're vulnerable. Like
Yeah.
what level of trust in wisdom do you have in a vulnerable? That's what you're vulnerable. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are naked, so to speak, showing
Yeah.
these emotions, and then you have no clue that this dude is like, damn, I've been waiting for this nigga to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for
Oh yeah.
opportunity. You always been in relationships since I known you from college,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. So that's what I mean by your auntie on the female side. For me,
Yeah.
being the elder, I'm pouring everything out to her, and that's a completely safe space. And she
Right.
only wants the best for me,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And the male standpoint, the female pouring into whatever that male family member is or that elder in a completely safe space. Because I think it's natural to, even though it's toxic, sometimes we seek out opportunity. We become opportunists as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
just, and maybe it's not even let's say the first conversation, but let's say 2 or 3 conversations in, all of a sudden it clicks, like, oh shit, I like her. Damn. Oh
Yeah.
shit. I damn. I was 100% just
See,
about
and that's another like trauma bonded relationship. You know what I'm
trauma
saying?
bonding.
Because yeah, it's
Yeah.
like now we bonding, and now it's so many relationships that is built on that. Man, it's I get it. Yeah, listen, just let me call my auntie. I'm just gonna call my sister because ain't
Yeah,
nobody
man.
gonna call. Yeah, and
For,
yeah, because then
for,
it puts you in a position to go from one situation to a whole nother situation because
So a
now
whole
you got
nother one.
this feel. Yeah,
because you never know
yeah,
where that other person is. You never know where that married homeboy is in
yeah,
his mind, in his body, or in his relationship.
yes.
And you're like, man, he married. That's my boy. That's, man.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no. You don't know. And
Yeah.
if you find out in the negative, it might be too late,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
because you allowed the trauma bond,
Mhm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then now you got a whole different situation. So I know I've been on the receiving end, on being in the right time, right place, and in the wrong maturity, wrong setting, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's like, oh damn, man, we crossed that line.
Mhm.
That shit crazy,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
talked for hours. We went to the food truck and got something to eat. We giggled and laughed.
And
We
they
took
just get me. They just understand me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, but have you thought about me? Have you thought about
Or
us?
the fact that, yeah, or the fact that, oh my gosh, you think about me, you care about me. Oh, you're taking the time to share this with me, or you're taking the time to do this with me.
Fred doesn't
That is the
listen like you
beginning
listen.
stages of limerence. The very
Mhm.
beginning stages of limerence.
Yeah, no, man. Go therapist, family member with
People
the
with
that
non-bias,
and
non-bias.
elder.
Yeah.
Like, don't even cry.
That's
That's
why I feel like it's so refreshing to be a reader, especially when
Mhm.
I do get men that come to me for readings. The thing is this for me. I I started doing tarot as like a spiritual counseling session. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's almost like I don't want to build a relationship outside of this because I understand that men, women, I even read for my children, okay, go through their own things in life. But I feel like it's nice to be that outlet because what I know for sure is that especially with a lot of times when I be pulling these cards, like I ain't no way. First of all, I'm not getting ready to be attracted to somebody when I see what's your future tell. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, I'm here for a specific purpose. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's nice to be that safe zone for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because for me personally, I know I'm not getting ready to let it go no further than what it's supposed to be because you're here for an individual purpose. That's like a counselor falling in love with all of her clients. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, not when when you're fully aware of the purpose of supposed to be helping somebody. You know, yeah, but I get what you're saying, bro. She like, oh, I'm just gonna stick with family. If we don't share the same blood, I'm good. But I think it's crazy because even with that being said, men still need an outlet. It still should be fair that you have an outlet if you don't have those, you know what I'm saying, those family members. I don't know. I'm
I
not a
mean,
man,
you
you
have to
know?
have it. The family unit because our particular um our people, right? Melanated folks, whatever the your continent of origin, we've been in a state of brokenness for hundreds of years,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the idea of elder it's quite strange, actually,
Yeah.
because who really grows up with that family structure of understanding elder counsel,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, what mother and father have raised you to go specifically to this identified elder counsel?
Mm-hmm.
This is the person who's been trained, who's been through rites of passage, who's been,
Oh yeah.
trusted, and so on and so forth, who has the cards and the signs and the maturity, whatever it is, to
Right.
do this. And so here's an identified person. Most of our life have been like shooting craps,
Yeah.
so we don't know we don't know what the hell is going on, or we're playing poker like we're playing spades, or we're playing spades like we're playing tonk or something. We're playing the
Mm-hmm.
wrong game, so we're just doing some shit, and we're raising these families where as kids we're like, can somebody give me direction here?
Ooh.
Can I mean, I don't even know, I'm just in my room quiet dealing with something, but I'm hoping you come into my room like,
Yeah.
you're supposed
To
to help
do.
me.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, I
Yes.
don't know. I'm just, dealing with something, or whatever it is, whether it be in the family dynamic or in your
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood. Um, um, you're the adult, and so you brought me into this world, and I don't know. I even have questions. I'm just in this dazed freaking state about
Mm-hmm.
existing, and
Yeah.
I need this frequent interaction with you where you sense what the fuck is going on with me, because you've
Right.
been here before,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not that I have a question, but you're so in tune and prepared that like, give you an example. um my wife had two children, Um, when we married, her son was 15, her daughter was 11. And I remember right around the time that we got married, he started doing the whole rebelling thing, right? And I remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, "Dear, his balls dropped. He's had some, erections he didn't really know what to do with. There's a girl he don't know quite how to talk to." And I said, he's going through a state where there just needs to be a male presence to go fishing with often, to play ball with outside often, so that male presence, I sense what's going on. And because he's 15, I say some stuff like, man, what girl you liking, bro?
Yeah.
Like, have you tried to holler at a girl and she put you down a certain way, or you found out that she had messed around with somebody else? Because I've been through this thing and I'm just there.
Yeah.
And I'm there so often, and we have this thing going on to where he don't get in the space. Nobody gets me and nobody understands me, which is what rebellion is spawned from.
Oh yeah.
But because I've been 15, I'm just paying attention to him, and I'm like, okay. I can sense he's been bullied at school because I'm just paying attention. Like, hey man, you've been coming in the house like you've been through something at school. What's going on? Talk to me. Well, yeah, man, there's this guy. Okay, cool. Let's nip that in the bud. But if nobody's paying attention to him, he been coming in the house and slumping his shoulders and saying nothing's going on, don't worry about it, and going to his room for 3 years.
Right. Oh my goodness.
From 12 to 15, he just been dealing with some shit, and ain't nobody frequenting him to even know, week 3 of the bullying at 12. Now this shit has gone 3 years, and he's developed a personality disorder based on dealing with the shit himself, and so on and so forth. So I think that's the
example of life molding us to be who we are. But thank God he had you to, to even witness that. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying with the breakdown of family, of the family dynamic. That and I mean, we understand this, the notion of fathers not being in the home, masculine energy is just not there. The protection is not there from that side. The provision is not there from that side. The wisdom from a masculine standpoint is not there at that side for the male and female.
Yeah.
And then you got society as a whole. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody does really. So if the family is broken down and you don't have that auntie or that aunt or those designated elders, woo.
Oh yeah.
Well, you guys, we did have someone who wanted to come in. Juan, if you are still there you are. Okay, we're gonna bring you on. He wants to speak towards the lack of fathers in the children's lives. So Juan, go ahead. We want to hear your perspective, brother.
Hello, Juan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good evening. This is a real good show. This has been much needed. I wanted to speak on platonic relationships too. It is very needed for men and women to be able to have an outlet with each other and not be sexual. Because if you don't have that, because y'all mentioned it earlier, to be able to have that shoulder to lean on, you're not going to lean on your boy's shoulder like that. He's going to think something wrong with you. He's going to think you're moist. So you want to shake that off. So you got to have that strong female figure around you that know how to hold it down and be a friend. And if women need that same thing from a man to be able to hold a real friend, to be able to hold it down, to be able to talk issues about a man she dealing with. That's how we grow. You know what I'm saying? When a woman when a woman can talk to a real friend, a male friend, about what she's going through, that's how she getting her strength. If she ain't got no brothers to do that with, she got to have that brother in. That's the same thing with
some people
a
don't
woman,
have
a
that.
man.
Oh, yeah.
A man got to have that sister in, as we can. I'm making up a word, but that sister in.
Oh, yeah.
If he don't have the sisters. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I got sisters. I got 4 sisters, but they're younger than me. So I can't really lean on them because they lean on me for the strength. So I got to find somebody in my outlet or my age group or older, because I got older friends. I got friends, you know, like Luna, she my friend. You know, so I'll lean on her. We grew up together. We went to school together. We'll be able to bust the chops with what we going through. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that strength, that's a form of healing. So when you're dealing with narcissism, you got to have that outlet to be able to reach and preach. If you can't do that, it's gonna be inner self-destruction.
Yeah.
Going through that, when I went through that and going through that without being able to talk about it, it's like having a bomb go off inside your body.
Ooh, yes.
You know, if you don't get that out, you're gonna destroy yourself. You're gonna be self-destruct. You can only go so far by yourself. We was not put here on this earth to be by ourselves. Everybody don't realize that you can do stuff.
Not to interrupt you, but as a male, so with that being said, so like for me, and I have a brother. I need to clarify that I do have a brother. He's my half brother on my dad's side, but we didn't grow up together at all. And so my mom only had 2 girls. So for me, especially coming up, I didn't have a brother, you know what I'm saying, to talk to when it came down to certain things. So my question to you is, do you think that it's possible for a male and a female to have each other to lean on without becoming attracted to that other person? Like, is it possible for me or a man to just have a female who is a support system without her or him, you know, come intertwining with each other? Or, you know what do you think is a way to keep the balance?
I have had, and I'm just speaking for me personally, over 30 years, had a platonic friend. Her name is Sean. Me and her have been knowing each other for over 30 years. And never, not one time that we crossed that boundary. Nah, I have a love for her. She have a love for me. And it's above and beyond friendship. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I need to go cry, I can let loose. If she need to come cry, she can let loose. And it's not going to go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Now,
I love that.
There is an attraction, like brother was just on there. It's going to be there. That's what brought the friendship. Friends are attracted to friends. Women have friends that they're attracted to because that's what lured them to them. And the man the same way. We're not going to say that. But my best friend, he attracted to me because of what I can do. You know, a lot of people don't know how to talk about love. You know what I'm saying? And that's what hinders us. You know what I'm saying? It hinders our growth as a people. You got to look at African people, Arabic people, Chinese people know how to show love towards their brethren and their sisterin without it being something extra. And that's what most of our problem is. We don't know how to talk to each other to show that we love each other and say it. Like I tell my boy, I love you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I love you, bro, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people look at that. Oh, man, look at these 2 moist niggas, blah, blah, blah. No, that's growth. You know what I'm saying? So we need to just fall back and look at the man in the mirror. Because you know what a lot of this is about? We don't love ourselves.
Yes. I get it. I totally agree.
I agree with that as well. Well, it takes a level of maturity, it takes a level of understanding.
And I understand it from all aspects, even if I'm not individually in that situation. Like, because at the end of the day, I see it more. It's way more common. Like with the young man who was just here. Only in a perfect world, though, can you have that. Like I can honestly say, though, that I do have a couple of males who've never tried to hit on me. And the thing is like that is just so refreshing for a female. You know what I'm saying? Just especially being a female, because we get hit on all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when you need somebody, like when you need the opposite sex for advice on that opposite sex, it's like, who do we have? And I think it's toxic to just leave it there. Well, I ain't got nobody. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is just so toxic because sometimes it takes the opposite sex to get us to understand the opposite, you know, and sometimes we just need that shoulder to cry on, and to get a perspective of why men move the way they do from another man. It just is, we all need that. Men need that, even when it come down to the women in their life. I feel like, because what happens if you don't? Like, do you just leave it there? Now you got to walk around, like you said, like you're a ticking time bomb. You know, like there has to be an outlet. It's got to be an outlet.
You know, another thing too, us men, you'll see a lot of us. It's a handful of us that know that's in the spiritual realm that tries to deal with this stuff spiritually, but it's just a handful of us that would admit that. But being around the right female, they would bring that. That's just like when I came into the spiritual realm, learned about tarot cards, learned about witchcraft. It was a female friend. It was female friends. You know what I'm saying? You probably know a couple of them too. They've been on here. Some kind of way we all interlinked. But guess what? Those women being around me helped me through my healing, my mourning. I couldn't get that from my male friends. Now, that growth that I got from my female friends, I helped my male friends. They was like, damn. Where you get this from? You said, where you get that from? I had to play it off like, yeah, I learned this and learned that, but I learned it from my female friends. And it helped them.
I love that. That's honorable. I love that, because it's still like teaching them the game, you know, like they're still teaching. I love that. That's my brother's keeper on another level. That's a nice
Let me take a moment really quickly and invite you guys to come on in if you want to discuss and have your perspective. The link is in the chat. You're on Facebook, so give me a moment to send it over on Facebook so you'll see it. If you're on my page, it's not going to show up. So just give me a second to bring that over to you. And Sharithia, you can go on and come in. So you guys can finish the discussion while I go ahead, or what you were speaking of just now, and I'll go ahead and get her that link. Just give me a moment.
Another thing too about a narcissist, they feed off of people with pure energy. They feed off of people because they need that, like he was just saying earlier, that simp mentality. Because a lot of people don't know they simps. You know what I'm saying? They the good guy syndrome. We as good men has been labeled as simps because we like to take care of our women, and they take that and run with it. You know what I'm saying? They pushing the good man into the grave. You know what I'm saying? Then when we get used and abused, we got to relearn what it means to be out in the world again. You done went through a relationship 12, 13 years. You got to learn what this new genre want. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you agree, bro? You know what I'm saying? You got to...
Bro, 100%. So, I'm going through a breakup situation, right? Wife and I were married 10 years, still are married, but of course we're going through what we're going through. Dated 5 years before that. And so I'm in a space where I'm like, man, I don't like shit about this modern world. Period.
Right.
I got homeboys just, man, come out here, let's go out here and shit. And I'm like, bruh, I'm not into that nightlife like that, man. Like, bro, I'm trying to be in the house, man, like at 7 o'clock watching a game or finishing up a book or, you know, talking with my daughter, making sure she ready for school and stuff, bro. Like, nah, because
that's that grown man mentality. So a grown man realizes real quick what they want. The streets ain't what it's cracked up to be. Now, we all grew up in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? It was the fast life, whatever like that. 2000s came and the world shifted right before our eyes. It shifted right before our eyes. The stuff that we didn't accept is accepted now. And so, you know, you looking at that stuff, you're like, what the hell just happened just that quick? That's just like, and excuse me for saying this, and I'm gonna say it carefully. The moisture between women and women and the man and man, it got more accepted. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And the the culture changed so quick to accept what we was ridiculing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now you have to think, people are so sensitive to saying stuff. We used to be able to say stuff and be like, okay, brush it off. Now you say stuff, people be ready to jump off the bridge or whatever like that. That's just like that lady the other day on Jefferson. I just got off work and come to find out she went through a narcissistic breakup. See, they ain't put it all out on the news like that, you know what I'm saying? Because they was protecting
the lady
her.
who jumped off the bridge.
The lady who jumped off that apartment down here on the waterfront is because she went through a breakup and didn't know how to handle it. So she popped the pills. The pills didn't kick in quick enough. She wanted to die in her sleep. So she sped up the process. But guess what? She was trying to reach out to talk to somebody. And that's why she got that attention that she needed, but she didn't get enough. That was like 12, 13 years of attention this woman needed.
They didn't tell the backstory about her. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Only reason we found out because we work for I work for the city, and the fire department and the police, they was all talking, and that's how we found out in the neighborhood. But they ain't put it out there. They want to say she had a mental problem. No, she didn't. She went through heartbreak. So that's a woman. That's a woman that went through that. Imagine what a man go through. Now he might nut the F up. In another way, he may want to pull the gun out or do a Christian war and shoot the family up, whatever, because he ain't got that outlet to talk. So ours is going to be more violent without being able to talk.
When I first came into the conversation, I was telling the ladies that men, we have a violent nature in general. We as a man, like let's say it this way, before there was paper money, we had to have the courage and the strength to go and hunt for food.
Yep.
We had to have the fortitude to be able to square up with another man to protect what's ours. So when you throw the clock back, men are just hard beings, and that's just we look at each other and like, brother, if I'm in front of brother right now, I'm gonna look at him, I'm gonna square, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna check.
Naturally, you're gonna square up. See, men, we square up with each other. Women tell right off, y'all blunt, y'all be like, I don't like this beat, and y'all gonna deal with y'all deal with. But you know what happens in I can only speak for the narcissist again. Like, let's use a female narcissist. A female narcissist got testosterone in them, and they use that against the male and strikes at him, see it viciously. And so you're going to get that response back. The feminine aspect is gone. When you got somebody squaring up at you like that, it's because of their upbringing. You can see of a lack of a father in most of our females. That's what's wrong with us now. We ain't got our fathers in our lives, men and women. And so you see it spread over into the relationship, and it seeps out. You don't see it right away when you date. Like you say, you was dating her for 5 years. You didn't see none of that because she knew how to turn that switch on and off. Let me get this Negro first and then get in there, and then I'll show you the real me. And same thing with the women and the versus men. The men do it too. I sit back and talk with some of our male brothers. They know how to turn that switch off, and you will see that brother is lacking the mother in his life because of the way he treats the woman. And it's because, and that's what makes him a narcissist. And the female is the same way. Of most female narcissists, and I can raise my hand on that, did not have a father figure in their life. And that's why they treat the men the way they treat them. And then the divorce rate is up because of that, especially amongst our people. We're becoming extinct because we didn't have our fathering in our background as a man and a woman. That's why you see the divorce rate up amongst Black people.
Yes.
Let's let Sharitha go ahead and give her perspective.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to tap in on Jawan, what you said about the men. I grew up with a mother and a father that was loving. I was made in love. So they did things together in the household. And I sit back and I watch a lot of things happen in life. I'm 44 years old. And back then it was taught that men shouldn't cry. First of all, God gave us all he gave us tear ducts to cry and release. But we were taught the men shouldn't cry. You got to be strong. If you don't let a man have an outlet, this is what you're going to, catastrophic stuff happens. Even with that young lady that y'all was just talking about, she needed somebody and nobody took the time to grab her. I heard in that live that cringed me when somebody screamed up, "Your mother is here. Your mother is here." 10 minutes after, she dropped. Her mother was the end of that. Her mother being there was a trigger. And she gave up and let go. That I had to deep down and pray because my spirit was so disturbed. Because while they was doing the prayer, she dropped. And it was when her mother got there. Her mother was a trigger.
Yeah.
I think it could have went different if her mother maybe never stepped up to the platform. Because evidently she was a trigger to her. So here it is. You got a mother who showed up. Okay, of course, but you got to look at her story too. How was she raised? How was she taught? Was she raised and taught to grab onto your kid, or I don't know how to grab onto her? She didn't have nobody. Right.
It ain't that bad.
She didn't have anybody. Right.
Yeah, what did she show up with?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now as a mother, you want to show up when I'm standing on top of this damn bridge when I've been reaching out, when y'all been seeing the signs all along. Yeah.
But you know, the mother showed up. The mother only showed up for the limelight. I mean, I'm telling you from what was told down there. And she only showed
her
up.
Child.
Yeah, some mothers don't know how to be there though. I'm not just being a devil's advocate right now.
If they have never been taught,
because they don't know how to be there for their parents, because for their children, because their mother didn't show them that, and then so on and so forth.
And that's what happens with generational curses. That's literally a generational curse. And my thing is I can sympathize with a person not knowing what they don't know, but at what point do we take responsibility for the fact that we are letting this curse continue to go on?
Some people don't know how
to begin with.
Some people don't know how to.
A narcissist, 90% of the narcissist is brought up and bred because of generational curses. If you really sit down and talk with a narcissist, they've been hurt and it's deep rooted from their childhood, and they push it on their relationship.
Yes, and it creates toxicity. So listen, I stumbled across a story a while back, and it was about two little boys who were growing up in the same household, raised by this alcoholic father. And the interview went something, they were asking the one little boy, "Why'd you turn out the way you turned out?" And he said, "Because my father was an alcoholic." And the other kid, "Why'd you turn out?" They turned out the way they turned out for the exact same reasons, but they turned out to be two totally different people. One was an alcoholic. Why? Because my father was one. Why? And this one turned out to not be one for the exact same reason. So it's like we at some point have to take responsibility once we become conscious that this shit was not right. Once we become conscious that this actually is a generational curse, and or whether it is or not, I don't have to be a victim.
That's what I recognize.
Some people never make it to that.
This goes back though to what Denali was saying about needing that support system. Because if there's never someone there to tell you or show you yourself sometimes, then you'll never know. You'll go through life being one way, acting one way.
That's why it should be okay for men to open up that door to them female friends, okay? And you got to be able to, as a masculine, as a male, that you, especially when you know you're hurt and you need somebody, if you can't try your best to turn off the sexual attraction, then that means you kind of being a disservice to yourself. Because when this woman, if this woman can actually help assist you in this trauma, or to help you break this generational curse, you can't let the fact that now you become physically attracted to her stop you from breaking this whole generational curse. You know, it's way bigger than,
you know, another thing
becoming attracted to them. You know, it's the same thing.
As a man, our masculinity be tested 24/7. We don't get to turn it off. See, y'all get to switch it on and off. Y'all know how to beef up your testosterone to a minute to show your strength, and then you know how to beef up your femininity. We can't do that. When can we do that? When can we turn our masculinity off? We can't, because it's cycle. Just like Sharitha just said, we have to do that every day. We have to go through that cycle. In the word,
is that healthy?
It speaks about manhood. Manhood is an everlasting spirit that must go on. Adam was put here. He was here by himself for a minute. He cried because he looked at the animals and was like, I'm lonely. That 2.5 seconds, he realized what he needed. And what he needed was that feminine energy. He needed that feminine energy to grow.
God made women and men for that exact reasons, to balance things off.
Right.
You got some women that try to be men too.
Give me a second here, and I get where you're going.
Sit down.
But I'm gonna look at this, what you were saying, Juan, in this situation, and I'm gonna take it a step further, because we're gonna come out of the actual physical aspects of it. We're gonna go into the spiritual aspect of what you were just saying. Okay. So we're gonna look at Adam. We're just gonna say he is a masculine energy. Okay. What it is becoming whole. That's what that whole thing was about. Adam looking and wanting Eve. Okay. Becoming whole, being able to balance your masculine and feminine energies. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what that really was about.
That's what I was about to say. Yep.
So in that, if you look at that there and you're looking at this situation of dealing with narcissism and all of that stuff, and being able to being in a position of healing, what it is actually being able to look into yourself, go within yourself to be able to see what needs to be healed, what doesn't need to be healed, or what needs to be changed, or what needs to be transformed, or whatever in your life. That's what that is about. It's not necessarily that we necessarily need to have somebody else as a partner or a friend or whatever to go to about these situations, but sometimes we have to be able to check ourselves. So if we're doing the self-work, if we're getting to a point where we're learning ourselves, being able to balance out our energies, and we get to a place where we can tell when, okay, this is overpowering, when that is overpowering. Juan, you were saying testosterone and the woman and feminine energy. It's still a balance that has to take place, because some of us don't have people to talk to. Some of us don't have parents. Some of us don't have friends. Some of us are just by ourselves and trying to do the best that we can. We come to
how do a man balance that energy like y'all women? Y'all women do it better than us.
A man has to understand
because we have our roles and our places.
Yeah, but a man has to understand himself and understand that there is a place for the heightened energy, and then there's a place where it's not for. So if a man can sit in peace, meditate, focus on what's happening, what's going on, then the man can actually tap into that softer aspect of himself. Go ahead, Denali.
So let me say this, Juan. I've noticed something about myself that I have felt pretty cool about, right? Because of my current situation, or due to my current situation, bro, I've been crying. Quite a bit. Because I'm sitting, if I sit in and think, right, and I'm rehearsing 15 years of everything. 15 years of red flags I missed, 15 years of, damn, I should have been a shoulder for her to cry on, 15 years of, all this. I sit and I'm just like, man. And what I allowed myself to do is just like, oh shit, I feel like I am about to cry.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not doing anything to my psyche to be like, nah, man, fuck all that. No, I'm actually like, damn, bro. And here's some tears. Here's some tears on that memory. You know, um, like we do in kind of the manhood circles where we lose somebody and we pour something out, right? The
Mhm.
pouring out is a symbol of tears. That's why we're pouring out the liquor. We're literally
Right.
saying this is the symbol of how we feel with that particular loss.
Yeah.
And we've been taught that we need symbols of that rather than, bro, just cry because you're in this loss. You've experienced loss, heartache, pain, so on and so forth. And so I know what I'm saying is after those tears, I've gotten to a point where now I'm breathing, and breathing is a
It's
part of
called a cleansing
meditating.
process.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can just
Right.
like, because you crying a lot of times. If you notice you're crying, you don't breathe a lot when you're crying. It's
Nope.
you're hyperventilating a little bit. You're not getting oxygen in. And then when you just get to a point when that cry is out, you do this. You
Yeah.
exhale. And if you're in a state where you've been trained, I've been trained on meditation, so I automatically go into, okay, well, let me get my 25 deep breaths in and
Mhm.
out. Let me relax my body. Let me not focus on anything. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So I just got out that which you were just talking about. I'm no longer pissed off. I'm no longer just, man, she XYZ. I'm no longer mad at myself because damn, man, I should have known better. All that.
Because you
I'm just
cleanse
like,
But
yourself.
see, you know what? You know what, bro? That's what I hate right there. It always takes something to happen for us to be able to have that downtime to do that. We move so fast, we don't
yeah,
have time to cry. You see what I'm
Sometimes
saying?
you
I'm
don't
just
have
speaking on the
time to
man's point of
process.
view. And there's a lot of women like that too. We moving so fast on this earth, we don't never have time to process our feelings. So then when you sit down and then crash, then hit you, you done crashed into the wall. Now you gotta sit, you forced to sit still to cry. You forced to sit
Yep.
still to let those
well,
feelings out.
let me add this, bro. Um, I was talking to a friend just last night. Our lives have been structured to get up, get out, and get something. Right? Outkast had that song some years ago, 30 years. That's all our time period. You need to get up, get out, and get something. Right? But check this out. When you go through certain type of therapy, they will give you the tool of, hey, bro, you need to get up 30 minutes before you typically would get up for the purpose of being still and being present. That's
Hmm.
a daily tool. So if you got to be to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say that you get up at 6:30 and you have a 90-minute process, including commute, right? Get up at 6 o'clock. Don't get up at 6:30 no more. Get up at 6 so that you have a 30-minute session
Breakdown.
where
Yes.
you wake up, you clear your eyes, you're not jumping to the rat race, but you're literally sitting there and you can
Meditate.
process what today.
Yeah.
Today is
Mm-hmm.
XYZ. I'm present for this. This is what I have to do work wise. This is what I have to do as a husband, father, as a brother. This is what I have to do in my community assignments, so on and so forth, and process that thing. And whatever emotions come from that, you'll experience it. Because if you'll experience, man, I gotta work on, you know, somebody's funeral. Well, at 6 o'clock in the morning, you will have some tears over, man, I miss them. You just gave yourself that time.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
you got this project and you got assholes working on your team. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I gotta have that 10 o'clock meeting and that shit. And you gave yourself time to just be like, okay.
You know what Michael Jackson said about look at the man in the mirror? The man in the mirrors. Oh Lord. You know why? Because you just said it real good, bro. You gotta have that breakdown period to look at oneself. If you don't
Right.
do that, you're gonna crash. You
That's
know,
some
and
real stuff, man.
I
Especially
get
when
up,
you make it a daily routine. I like that
Daily
advice
routine.
too.
It's
I
daily.
That's
get
something.
up, I get
That's
up at
something Queen Afua
4:30
talks
every
about.
day. I get up at 4:30 every
Mhm.
day to look at the man in the mirror. I turn on all the lights so I can get my spirit right, get my spirit to glowing,
That's right.
to get
That's
ready
important. That is
to
very
go
important.
outside the door.
Yeah. So there's something that
Yeah.
I like to do. I call it mirror talk.
Yes.
And I take
Mirror
that time.
talk.
I wake up early. I'll go take my shower, whatever, and I present myself to myself in my barest form, and I will talk with myself, converse with myself, meditate with myself about the things that I want to change, the things that I want to do in life, or how I want my day to go.
Yes.
You are your best
You got
coach.
to.
Coach myself
That's
through
it.
my own energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You
What
got
I'm
to
going
be
to
your
accept,
own
I'm not
best
going to.
coach.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And I
keep control of your frequency. It's like waking up, keeping control so that the day don't take you over.
Don't
Especially
take
when
you
you're
over.
prepared, when you know what's going on for this day. Listen, I'm not getting ready to let this supervisor get on my nerves, these clients, none of this. Like I'm living, I'm in the moment
Mhm.
at all times. But without that extra 30 minutes of the day, because you
You
wake
thrown
up
off.
scattered. You scared. If you scattered from the time you wake up, that day gonna go. It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop. And
Gonna
that's where
go
you come
bad.
home and you crash, emotionally, physically, all that, because you weren't able to prepare your mind, your spirit, your body for the day. And
Yeah.
honey,
Because
we
when
never
I
know what
do
to even
that,
expect, even when we got a plan for the day. Yeah,
yeah.
I
When I
love
don't
that
do that,
ideal.
my day go, and I be like,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I
And
knew
I
what I
don't do
supposed to
that. I
have
don't
did this
practice that
morning
all the
before I
time, but
stepped out my bed.
I try my best to be conscious enough to be in the now, because because life is always life, and right. Sometimes my alarm, damn, I set my alarm, it didn't go off in time. Now I'm 30 minutes behind, but guess what? I'm still conscious that this day may go a little bit more rocky because I'm 30 minutes behind. So for me, that's my drive time to work. My drive time to work is where in my contemplation and my meditation. I know I'm 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to have to be at 30 minutes ahead of the game when I get here to work. You still have time. You still, and that's being in the now. You know what I mean? If you at work and you got 5 minutes to run to the bathroom to get your mental together, because I gotta have this meeting with the supervisor, there's always room for that. There's always time for that. But I love your mentality too, because the thing is, it's like if you're diligent and you set that 30 minutes for yourself throughout the day, it eliminates you having to be scattered and take 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there.
Let,
I
let me
love that.
leave this. Let me say this to y'all as a brother and sister. We got to get out of that job mentality, period. We got to get career
Mhm.
minded. You know what? I was selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, and this white guy and Chinese guy taught me this. He said, what you think this is? You think this a job or career? I said a job. He said,
Uh-huh.
you just fucked up right then and there,
Yep.
because you
Mhm.
always going to be job, just over broke. Long as we had that
Mhm.
just
Yep.
over broke mentality, we're going to be getting up
Yes.
late every day, running out the house, running into the freeway to run to a job to be just over broke. What that taught me was, and it worked in my marriage, it worked in everything. Once I put my mind in that frequency mode to meditate, that just over broke mentality left. I've
Yes.
been doing that now for 15 years. So I get up and look at that mirror. I said, excuse me for saying this, I'm not no just over broke Negro.
Okay.
So I'm career minded.
That's
Once I
right.
trained my mind that way, I always kept a career. I always
Yeah.
kept, I was able to maintain my marriage. Now, was my spouse on that too? No,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
because she didn't jump on that frequency with me. I was trying to teach her that, but I noticed something too. When you spiritual, you got to make sure you spiritual together. You got to do that ritual together. You can't just
Absolutely,
do it by
man.
yourself. You can't
Mhm.
do it by yourself. If you getting up at 4:30 in the morning, both y'all got to get up at 4:30 in the morning and go through that ritual together. If not, you're not going to be equally yoked. You're going to crash and burn. And then, yep, you see how you're doing that right there? You're going to be
Yeah.
climbing the
Yep.
stairs and be out of breath. Somebody got to have the water. Somebody got to have a bucket, and it's got to be a balance. And
There
you
you go.
pull yourself apart.
I love it. Hit the nail on the head, especially from a relationship standpoint.
But that's why narcissism is created. It's not something you're born with. It is a created disease. It's a disease. That is a spirit. That is the enemy.
It's learned.
It don't want us to bond. You know what I'm saying? It don't want us to come together. It wants destruction. And narcissism is a form of destruction. It's a disease. And then, talking with a lot of these therapists and a lot of these doctors, you got all these undiagnosed narcissists out here.
Oh, yeah.
You got a lot of undiagnosed. A lot of people don't know what
it is. They don't know how to identify.
A lot of people don't know what it is because it was taboo to be talked about. It wasn't never talked about. I was telling my best friend, right there, Luna. We had this conversation a while back. Hey, baby. We had this conversation back in October, November last year. I was in the process of moving and getting my life on track, stuff like that. And I told her, I said, friend, I said, people don't understand to get that this year, which is 2023, this is the year of reveal. What's done in the dark should come to the light. Everything is going to start forefront and coming out. And exactly that. People not paying attention. They not understanding. They don't take time. When we went into COVID, that's the first time this world did not know how to take the fact that they had to sit down all that time.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were born in my best friend. I love her so much. She got her business up and running. Look at her. She shining bright. She thriving and booming. You know what I'm saying? And I put my love into that baby right there. She keep me together, and she keep me together.
Me and my best friend have been best friends since we were 8, 9 years old.
Wow.
The best thing that ever happened in my life.
And you know what? That is rare. That is real rare to hear people say that, to have a friendship that long now. Most people, the most friendships I see now is the last 5 years, 10 years. But to go back from 8 over 30 some years, that is a blessing.
Yeah. Listen, my best friend is literally my soulmate. People are so misconstrued with the soulmate, the karmic, and a twin. My best friend is literally my soulmate. Guess what? Me and Sharitha have we have a trauma bonded relationship. Our trauma bonded relationship elevated to something totally different. When I met my best friend, my father had just passed away. My father had just, quote unquote, committed suicide. And my best friend had already lost her mother. We were children. When she opened up her mouth, listen, me and her remember the very first day that we became friends. Mr. Snyder was our teacher. We remember this day. I was already a student at this school. I remember the day the door opened. She walked into the classroom and Mr. Snyder put her right behind me. And I don't even remember how we started conversing. I just remember how the classroom was set up. And I was able to find out enough information about this new girl in the class that was sitting behind me and to not get in trouble by Mrs. Snyder. And I just remember her telling me that her mother passed away, because I can't remember exactly how the conversation started, but she had mentioned something about her grandmother. And I'm like, well, where your mom? Because whatever we were talking about somewhere in my mom, that's something a mother is supposed to do. So naturally, my question to her was like, where's her mother?
My grandmother was the next
her mother passed away.
Matriarch that stepped in. Yeah.
Yeah. But when she told me that her mom passed away, because I had just lost my father a few months before I met her, so it was still so heavy on my heart. I just remember turning around in the seat in the classroom, and I had like these tears in my eyes, because it's like I met a young girl, a girl that's my exact same age, and like, God, you took her mama? Like, God, why you take her mom? And I was just so awkwardly intrigued by that. But we had the bond was already there. I remember going home from school that day. I remember the overcast was gloomy and gray, but the joy, the energy that I had in my heart, I remember running with my backpack on my back to the point to where I remember as I'm running, this backpack is moving like back and forth because I'm running so quick to get home and tell my mother that I met a girl I met a girl who lost her mom. Like mama, like she lost her mama. Like I'm hurting because I lost my dad, but she lost her mom. And we have been best friends ever since. Now that is a trauma bonded relationship that
I won't look at that as a trauma
thank God
bond.
for my best friend. Like y'all don't
It
even
was
know.
it was God sent. It was God meant
Yeah, I don't look
for
at
that
that
to
as a
happen.
trauma bond because I think that
We
was
needed
just
each other.
that similarity.
Well, it was a traumatic
gave you
experience that
guys
we
what
both
you
had went
needed.
through.
Yeah.
God
And
has
both, and I
sent us
say,
and put us together to heal each other.
There you go.
Most
Because
think-
at that point when I met her, my mother had died holding me in her arms. And at that
That's
moment,
traumatic.
that's the first, that was traumatic. But that's the first time that I heard God speak to me. And he said,
Yeah.
we must all go this way one day. And I said, huh? He said,
Mhm.
yes. He said, we're not promised on this earth. This is just the beginning. There's more
Yeah,
to it. Okay.
the having your mother pass away was a traumatic experience. My father,
It was. But
I was told that my father committed suicide. So that was very traumatic for me too.
Yeah.
And then to meet this girl, you know, because we two adolescents, two children walking around with a hurt in our heart that, you know what I mean? That like it was a traumatic experience for me. Mm-hmm.
I want to, if I can, define trauma bond. Because
We're bonded by a traumatic experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this definition says a trauma bond is when a person forms a deep emotional attachment with someone that causes them harm.
I can get that standpoint.
So
definition of it. Yeah.
I'm seeing two things. And not that it's wrong, but I'm seeing that.
But you got some narcissists that does that.
Right.
That's
so
a narcissistic trait.
And you guys,
from some
relationship. I like what Sharitha just said. Now I got to use me for example, and let's go off with what he talking about the trauma bond. What y'all did, y'all built a foundation off y'all trauma bond.
That's what I originally was trying to get to, because that was my example of not all trauma bonded relationships are actually negative, because it depends on what you do with the relationship. Yeah. And we created, especially considering her and I understood God's assignment when he put us in each other's life. We weren't supposed to be trying to. Yes, it was a traumatic and negative experience. Like cancer is horrible. I don't care what nobody says. My mother died of cancer. Guns are horrible, especially to hear your father committed suicide. But the thing is it was, even though we had these experiences, it connected us to be able to help heal each other. That actually, or to be company in the midst of, you know what I mean? Especially being children, we were so vulnerable in the heart space. And so it was like, God knew what we needed. And I also truly feel like on a spiritual realm, our parents had a lot to do with that, with us intertwining with each other, because like my daddy knew I needed her. And like her mom knew that too.
Spiritual level, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Now you got people out here. Let's go off of the title of this whole thing again. Let's bring it back a little bit too about the narcissist and the empath.
Empath, yeah.
Okay. You got people that's so trauma driven that they leech off of the person with the natural energy and feed off of it. Y'all was able to feed off each other in a positive way.
Oh yeah.
Now
that's why I said that's what a narcissist comes in. Yeah,
right. They feed off you in a negative way.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we were two narcissists, but I do think that we had
no. That's not. Y'all was two empaths.
Right.
Y'all was empathetic towards
that
each
taught
other.
me not to be the narcissist of what was going on in my life too.
So and that shows us the level of it. That shows us the level of empathic relationships and narcissist relationships.
Y'all was two positives that came together. Then y'all, you got, okay, you see how this chart is up here on the board?
Yeah.
You see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people up here. Now, they say 5 people is imbalance. But 5 people right now is a strength, because we all got a story to tell, and it's the same story from different perspectives.
Right.
Different perspectives.
Using that. You got some people will sit up here and be like, what the fuck is they talking about bullshit, blah, and they get mad. And they
Yeah.
get
They get
mad
mad.
because the truth is being told.
Because
You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Oh, yes.
Everybody up here, from Phoenix on down to Sharita, all of us got a story to
It's
tell. But guess
grief.
what? All of our story is intertwining. I felt y'all hurt when you told me this story a long time ago, Luna. I was on the other end of the phone. You was giving me a reading that day. I messed me up because we was all over the place that day.
Yes.
And you just don't know. You saved me. You
I love
saved
you.
me.
I love you
You
so much,
saved me.
friend. I
Because
love you.
what bro up here was talking about, he going through it. I'm going through it right now too. We all got a story to tell.
I
You see, I
love
still got
you.
mine on my finger, but the
oh,
last 90 days, I've been going through pure D bullshit.
Listen.
oh
Pure
no.
D bullshit. And so y'all on here we all saving each other some kind of way. But you know what? I done cried and cried and cried and cried. And I feel you, bro. That when I did that release that day by the water, I was talking to you that day on the phone, Luna, by the water. I cried before I called you. And you didn't know that. You didn't know that.
I knew you
We
was
was
going
talking
through
about,
some
we
things.
went all the way back to Job Corps. We bought it for
All
it.
three of
We
us
did
went
the
to school together. Me,
I-
Sharita, and Juan,
I
we
remember
all went to
Sharita.
school together a
I remember
long
her.
time. 90, what was that? I went to Job Corps in
96,
96.
97.
Okay, this
98.
how deep the links is. Okay, God don't play
Yeah,
about
I
real
was there
people,
till
about keeping real
98.
people in each other's lives, baby.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Me and you we clicked and on board at Job Corps 97, December 97. I'll never forget that. And it's been, and then we got back together on Facebook, and then we got back together spiritually through a bond. And then we found out we had a lot of mutual friends together in the spiritual realm. And that was bro.
Mhm.
All of y'all, and guess what? Bro, majority of them is females. They saved my life because they sat me down and broke it down to the real. She was like, oh no, that's always been there. You just not catching up with. See, you needed to hear that female perspective. I'm looking at this stuff just jumped off just like that. It probably was like 2 years in the making, and the red flags is already there. So when you're in a narcissistic relationship and you're the supply, you're not gonna know that you're a supply because you're study doing your natural things. You're moving in the natural realm. You're not looking at that you being used and leached off of like a Leviathan. That's a vampire you was with. And that person don't know they're a vampire. They don't know
And
that they
listen,
leeching off
let
you.
me say something too, especially to the other young man. Let me say something. Juan has never hit on me. Now, Juan, I don't know if you ever had no feelings, but let me tell you something. When we had our encounter, because I do, like I said, I like to view my readings to be spiritual counseling sessions. I feel like we meshed up so well. He understood the assignment. Like, he was not in the mindset of like, and I don't know, he could, and I'm not, please don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying that that wasn't the case after he hung up or even during the conversation, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. He's never, even with being young, we were teenagers, but I was hot to trot back in the day. You understand me? I was it. And still never, even back then, both me and my best friend, but even back then, he still never. You know what I'm saying? So to me, he is a prime example of being able to have that male figure who never, you know what I mean? And he was able to take what
Never
I said
went over those boundaries or whatever.
Yeah, and it was therapy.
You can
Now,
appreciate that because that's a real that's a real man.
most definitely. And let me tell you something. I didn't sense not one single bit. I did not sense that like, oh, he want me after this reading. Not to say that he didn't. Okay, so please don't get me wrong. But I'm gonna tell you, it's really nice to be able to know that I can be of that assistance to a male, and even for a male to be, you know, that he can come to me and we can keep some boundaries with this shit. It's just boundaries, you know. Reap the benefit from the people if you can reap the positive benefit. The thing is to get control over your mental. If you feel like it can convert to something else. If you got a female in your world who can help you get through a traumatic life experience, we got to put the cocks aside. You know what I'm saying? To be able to get that real. Yeah.
Me and you was on Messenger. This was about some years ago. You was going through your situation in your marriage. And remember what I kept saying? You was like, well, I don't want this to cross over to be. I said, no, the one thing I'm going to do is be your friend. It was something along that line. And I am pro marriage. I am pro the spirit. you was going through what you're going through, I said, I'm praying for your marriage. You
Yes.
turned around years later and gave that back to me.
Yes.
We're going
Yes.
through
Yes.
the same
Yes.
thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is all.
That's
it's
what
all
we need
revolution.
more.
It's
Yeah.
all the revolution.
The world will be a
And let me
better
tell you
place.
something. Every man deserves that. Every fucking man
Mhm.
deserves that, especially when you don't got another female around to tell you that. Every woman deserves that too. Every teenage girl,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Before they know what the game is like out here, like everybody
Yeah.
deserves that. For real. Like I honor doing tarot cards. I honor that on a whole nother level. And I
When you
try
work
my
that,
best to make it count.
when
You know what I'm saying?
bro, if you ain't never had a read before, I would suggest between Phoenix and Luna, you get it. This is what I'm gonna say this. Because once you sit and hear yourself being broke down and your life being broke down, it puts you in another perspective. Sometimes it take a third party to bring your party to action. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? Because you sitting back listening now at yourself. We
I
don't
agree.
never do that.
I've
We never
had
do that.
readings
And
done.
that's why it's so important to talk to yourself sometimes. Sometimes you got to put yourself. I had to make myself a real war room in my house. I
Yeah.
had to make me a real war room to get myself together because I was about to be on the road of self-destruction. I did not want to be like that young lady just a couple of days ago. I could have drove my car into somebody just because I'm on the rampant nut. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't want to admit that because of your feelings and emotions. We was not bred to have feelings and emotion. We was bred to be
Yeah.
testosterone.
And
Move,
that's where we're wrong
push,
at.
push.
Yeah. That's not
That's
fair.
why I said, men were taught not to cry.
Yeah. That's
God
some
gave
bull.
us
That's some
tear
BS.
ducts to release. That's a
And these
natural.
emotions to be able to release that. Yeah.
I
And
told
guess
my
what? You're
wife,
still a whole
my,
man. You're still a whole man if you
my,
do. You're still a whole
when
entire
I,
man if
when
you
I,
cry.
I told my wife this, and this stuck with her head for a long time, and she took it the wrong way. I said, I'm not a nurturer. She didn't get what I was saying. I said it, and she took it and was like, "Oh, you just mean no. I'm a provider. I'm a provide for you to nurture me, and then you'll get the love." She didn't get that.
that's the balance I was
Did I just
talking
say?
about earlier.
Did I say
But
that
we
right?
all have
Did
different
y'all
aspects
understand
of
what I was saying?
ourselves,
Oh
right?
yeah.
We all have
Y'all
different
understood what I
aspects
said?
of ourselves that we portray more than other aspects. But we all have them all. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
learning yourself and understanding how to balance them all or putting them in their
Yep.
perspective. When to use them,
All
when
of
not
us,
to use them.
all
When
of us got what you call a pyramid of
Yeah.
emotions. And what you just
Yep.
said, Phoenix, you got to be able to put it all in perspective. My nurturing aspect is maybe a 5%, but
Yeah.
my provider instinct is at a 35. You know what I'm saying? I know how to do that better than the nurturing part, but it all balances itself out. But it
Yes,
takes us
because the
to
woman
commit.
is supposed to be the nurturer. Like, that's
Right.
exactly what
And
that's what makes
that's
it
the
equal.
balance. That's
Yeah.
that's that balance I was talking about. Like with my mother and my father, they did things together. It wasn't, oh, you blah blah blah, but they did it together and they enjoyed it. And
And they were
so when I
aware
got
of their
with my
roles.
boyfriend, that I'm with now, I've been with him for 26 years. But I had to teach him some things and he taught me some things. He taught I taught him what real love was. I taught him it's okay to cry. Come to me.
Mhm.
That's where I come in at.
so
I'm
that's where the
supposed to
trust
nurture
comes in.
you because you
That's what
take
that
care of
part right
me.
there.
You take care of
That's
me.
the woman's role. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so
But you know
when
what?
I first met him, what was so crazy was okay, so when my mother died, my father took on the role of taking care of all the girls. He had nothing but girls. So he double stepped in because he was mom and dad at that point.
Oh yeah.
He kind of fell off a little bit, but he was still relevant in my life to teach me some things.
Oh yeah.
A lot of things I had to be smart and wise in my mind to pick up. So I used to watch my elders, the older people, the matriarchs, and watch how they moved. listen to the wisdom and the knowledge from them
Mhm.
and get an understanding. So when I met him, he asked me, did I want something from the store? I was like, no, I'm good. I could buy it. And he kind of like jerked back and he was like, huh? And I was like, what was the reaction for? The reaction was he wasn't used to that. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? So what happened was he's used to the women asking for things. He didn't understand that he had an independent woman. The independent in me came from my father. He instilled that in his girls. If something ever should happen to me, y'all would know how to fend for yourselves in the world. I know how to look at my car and know what's going on with my truck. What's wrong with my gas line? What's wrong with my truck? Because he instilled those things in me.
Yeah.
He is exactly. He said, if you don't have a man, you're not a fend for yourself. But also he kind of messed me up a little bit because it made me too independent where I felt like I didn't need a man. Yes, I did need a man.
Baby.
Because that's what God made a woman and a man for, to balance each other out.
Yes.
He was like, I never met a woman that don't need nothing or ask for anything. I said, I'm sorry, I'm just an independent woman. That's where I come from. I've always made my own money. I always did me. So I wasn't used to a real man like him taking care of me. So I thought it was foreign. So I always kid with my best friend. Well, I kid with my best friend now. I tell you, huh?
You turned your femininity on and you turned your testosterone down. A lot of people don't know how to.
And that's because he taught me what a real man was. My dad was a real man, but when he taught me how to be independent, I went wider out in the spectrum of it. So what a man could do, I could have did it myself, and I was doing it myself. So I didn't know that from that man. So he said, you don't never ask for anything, because I don't never want for much. So, like he'll splurge on little stuff. He'll buy me earrings. He'll buy me a bracelet, necklace, stuff like that, just out of the blue, because I don't ask for anything. Right now to this day, I still kind of don't ask for anything. It's kind of hard for me, but I don't. But I also had to learn to trust who I was with, the man that I had fell in love with, that he got my back. Right now, I just moved from a whole total state.
My best
From
friend
Detroit
left me,
to Arkansas. Okay? If that ain't love, and I let him, I don't care what nobody
say. In that feminine energy too. He made her feel a sense of security that we're like, and that's the thing. That was a thing that happened that built up for them over all of those years of being together. Like they know that they can be safe within each other. You know what I mean? He put her in a position to be able to own her femininity. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I make this funny comment always to my best friend. We be talking about, I said, man, I swear I know I was a man in my past life, because don't get me wrong, I have a testosterone side of me that a man will come and I'll be like, girl,
my best friend have road rage every day.
But I swear to God, I was a man.
She have a road rage every day. She cussing somebody out.
A lot of women don't realize, I call it the tomboy syndrome. And
that was me. I was always up in the tree somewhere. I was the only girl on the block had a BMX dirt bike. Flying.
They don't have nothing.
Jumping off of buildings. That was me.
I'm gonna tell y'all a little quick story about my wife. My wife was my best friend. We've been knowing each other since we were 14 years old. And what I loved about her, she was in the Caprice Classics like me. She was in the Mustangs. I said,
my favorite car.
It's my sister. Oh, this girl she like Caprice, she like Stang. She knew that was a powerful in that motor. So she didn't play with Barbie dolls.
She the one.
She played
one.
with He-Man. She played with He-Man. So I was like, whoa. She didn't do the Crystal Castle Shiva. She wanted He-Man and Rodak and Skeletor.
That's me.
I was sitting up
That's
there
me.
like, so you know what? But here's the funny part. I told her back in high school, I said, "You're gonna be my wife." She said, "Ha ha." I said, "Okay." So we just still was being friends. We was friends for over 20 years before we complicated the relationship. She told me, she looked at me and told me, she said, "I love you." I said, "I love you too." She said, "No, I love you." I said, "Oh, they just messed up the whole dynamics of
It flipped. It's different now.
Now
it's a different day.
I gotta try to go in the mold and look at her as a real woman.
It's a different day, bro.
It's a different day. So still to this day, which I'm going through what we going through now, is because she turned that switch off on me. Because I'm still in the mode. She want me to bring her tools and stuff. Now she want me to give her flowers. I said, okay. So now I bring the tools and the flowers, and she confused. Nigga, I want flowers. I'm like, what you want? What do you want? What do you want?
I swear to God,
What do
look.
you want?
Look, hold up. Wait, hold up.
Okay, look. So I bought her a look. So I bought her a pink one like that. I can run in the kitchen right now. I bought a pink one just like what you just pulled up, right? It's all pink and black.
Y'all, guess what I'm getting ready to go tell my husband I want? I want a tool set. Purple.
But look, I bought her. She got the little vroom vroom. She got the electric wrench, all that stuff. So then the next day, she said, all I just wanted was a card and some flowers. I was like, you got me fucked up now. What I don't know what to do.
I'm sure she appreciated all of it.
My boyfriend now to balance it out now. He knows me. He knows what I like. Like he knows me. He knows I like both sides. Yeah, that's it. See, right. Let me tell you something. When I got with my boyfriend, he didn't know how. Y'all, my boyfriend did not know how to act when I met him because
that's it.
I watch wrestling, I watch basketball, and I watch football. He didn't know how to take. He thought it was the weirdest thing ever. Right now, to this day, no lie, I was watching football on TV. He was like, "Hey, babe, what you doing?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching a football game." You watching a football? Who you watching a football game with? I said, how many times we got to go through this? You know that I do. How many times we got to go through this?
You, Sharita, you is a natural empath. You knew how to blend with your man, and you bought him home. You see what he got up there? I bought that same 2 set for my wife right there. That pink, what he looked like, he could order it.
Just silly.
I bought that
he
thing.
Got it right there.
That's it. That's it.
Let me tell you something. I'm the only woman that you might probably hear this from. But I love Home Depot. I would live in there. I worked there at Home Depot, and I was at home.
But see,
because I like muscle cars. I like stuff like. That's why I told best friend. I said I had to been a man in my past life.
Girl,
I had to work with myself when I got with this man. Because he taught me some things. I taught him some things, but. He taught me how to bring myself into where
your feminine
be trusted with him. Yeah, because
and be more
I go into a nigga in a minute. I go into a dude in a minute.
But she's also a natural nurturer. She's always been that way ever since we were children. Listen, my best friend. She's definitely my best friend. She has an old school way of thinking. When we were young, my mother would always say, "Oh, that girl got an old soul. She just got an old soul." She, my best friend, that had a few lives here on this earth. Okay, and because I'm a firm believer in the reincarnation.
One of them.
She took care of a bunch of children in her life. You could have been. Listen, she had somebody pregnant consistently back in one of them lives. She had a baby mama that stayed barefoot in prison.
I knew what he was doing when he made me a woman on this earth. He said, "Hell, no.
She has
We're not giving you a penis, ma'am. Because you know,
Because you was a
Not-
mess in your last life.
Not this
But she-
time.
Oh my goodness.
not this
this
life.
time.
I'm so sorry. I don't want to interrupt this flow, and it's feeling really, really good. We about to hit 3 hours, y'all. So what I
Whoa.
would love to do is tackle this topic again.
Yes.
Maybe not next weekend, but maybe the following weekend. I'm trying to get somebody else for next week's show. I'm going to see if that works and flows through. Hopefully, we'll be talking about some love and femininity next episode. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying to get them to come on the show. So we're going to end it here. I appreciate all of you guys and your perspectives. This was beautiful. This was awesome. Glad we finally got a perspective on here about this topic, because last season we talked about it before, and we were only able to get me and Luna's perspective. But now we got a lot more to it, and a lot more scenarios and situations that come with it. So we appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to say thank you to all the viewers, those of you who tuned in, who watched, all of your comments, all of the love and support that you have given us. We thank you guys so much. Tune in next Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, I am Phoenix, my co-host Luna, who just dropped out. And to all of you all who are really our co-hosts, we thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next weekend. Some blessings.
All right. Good night.
Good night, beloved.